It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. It's a Tennessee Titans game day. The Titans are in Atlanta to take on the Falcons with kickoff set for 6 p.m. Central for preseason game number 2 tonight. The 3HL this afternoon has you covered with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff before Titans radio coverage takes over for pregame at 5 o'clock right here on 104.5 The Zone. Quarterback Cam Ward and the rest of the Titans starters are expected to play the first 2 series tonight. Meanwhile, the Falcons are resting most of their starters, including quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Outside of the Titans versus Falcons, there is just one other preseason game tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs are in Seattle to take on the Seahawks with a 9 p.m. Central kickoff on NFL Network. Seattle head coach Mike McDonald confirmed this week that Seahawks will play their starters for a portion of tonight's game, including quarterback Sam Darnold and wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba. In other NFL news, undrafted free agent wide receiver out of the University of Texas, Isaiah Bond, will face no further criminal charges on his sexual assault case. Earlier this year, Bond announced himself on social media that he intends to sign with the Cleveland Browns, but no deal has yet been finalized. And speaking of the Browns, second-round draft pick running back Quinshon Judkins will not face any formal charges for a domestic violence and battery case in which he was arrested back in July. Prosecutors declined to file those charges, and Judkins is the only member of the 2025 rookie draft class that has not signed their rookie contract. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
You in Music City and around the world, Ramon and Will dividing and conquering on this Friday, live on 104.5 The Zone and streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. I am at a hotel room in Atlanta. Titans and Falcons tonight, courtesy of Titans Radio, of course. Ramon Foster is back in Nashville, Tennessee. 615-737-1045 is the number. Ramon Foster, good morning. How we doing?
We're good, man. Hold up. You got me? Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. There we are. Welcome back.
Hey, I'm in the big chair today, Will. I'm in the hosting seat today as well.
Are you?
I've already failed to realize which mic he's on today.
See what I'm saying, Will? Some people got to wake up early, man. I know you've been up because you're on Eastern time right now, man. But lo and behold, your guy is actually in the host seat, but I'm not hosting because my dog was willing to come on from Atlanta, man. How you living?
I'm good. I have a little bit of a problem this morning, Ramon.
What's your problem?
We have an issue in this country. We have an issue that is facing our nation. Hotel coffee makers have become far too complicated and complex, far too difficult to use. So I have no caffeine this morning. I'm battling. I'm fighting hard. I'm trying to make it. This thing has no on switch. I've plugged it in. I've put in water. One of these Nespresso things. I guess I'll just say what brand it is. Ramon, I have been Googling for the last however long I've been awake how to use Nespresso hotel coffee maker, and I'm coming up empty. I feel like I am a technologically savvy person.
Yeah.
This has conquered me. It's conquered me. I can't figure out how to use it.
You know what? I hardly ever use the hotel like K-Cup espresso machine one. I just have this weird feeling about those, and I don't know why. I would much rather, and this is probably the bougie part of me coming out, so excuse me if I'm sounding like Buck Rising right here, but I'd rather order a pot of coffee than to use that one, okay, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what
Fair.
it is. It's almost like using hotel soap, too, from time to time, which I did last week, so I'm not opposed to it. I travel with my own soap, okay? It's just the way I'm rolling in this, okay? I will travel with my own soap. I usually travel with my own lotion, although depending on how nice the hotel is, I will use those, those offerings is what I'm telling you. But I have a weird just thing about hotel room K-Cup espresso coffee makers. Am I different is what I'm asking.
A little bit, but that's okay. If it's got caffeine, I'll drink it. to be honest with you, within reason. Obviously, the mixture of caffeine and alcohol this morning, I would not drink. But you know what I mean, within reason. If it's got caffeine, I would drink it. No, I am chronically also bad at bringing soap places. I just assume everywhere has soap. Then I'll get to like an Airbnb and like, empty. Okay, perfect.
Just so you know, Hawk, you got your light on, man. What you about to say?
Are either of y'all energy drink people?
Yes, I am. Easily.
Depends.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be the ones with all the vitamins in it.
No,
I'm not just going to go Monster. Like, Monster's terrible.
I'll take a Monster Zero easily. Easily, Hawk. Look, I'll take an endorsement right now from Monster and Red Bull, just so you know. Okay?
Well, listen, if it's not Scooter's Coffee in Nashville, then we don't want it. I'm confined to a hotel room this morning, so that is what I am forced to try to use. I will say, though, guys, Scooter's Coffee got me to Atlanta yesterday.
I know you said you were stopping.
First pumpkin drink I tried, and this is a fun flavor mix that I'd not tried before. Pumpkin Caramelicious.
Yeah.
The Caramelicious stuff at Scooter's Coffee, well documented. We talk about it all the time about how good it is.
Absolutely.
Pumpkin and caramel together, exquisite. Okay. Phenomenal. Stupendous. Marvelous. All the good words that you can use on a fine Friday morning. It was that for me. It was so good.
I might have to stop in the Madison exit, man, to get me some.
You need it.
Like, legitimately, the Caramelicious side of it, I have had that. I had the zero version of it, zero sugar version of it. So if you're telling me to add the pumpkin to it too, Will, like, is that going to hit for Friday?
It is absolutely fantastic.
By the way,
absolutely fantastic.
You are holding that mic right now as if you are, like, on stage in, like, the 1950s is what I'm saying. Like, you
what do you mean?
You look like you about to, like, just hit a spin move and hit a deep song, man. Yeah, that's like the.
How else do you want me to hold it?
I don't know. It's an old school mic, and I'm just used to seeing like people use like either something different or not that. It looked like it's wired and everything.
It's just a microphone.
Okay, I'm with it. I'm with it. I
do feel a little bit like I'm on Around the Horn or on ESPN because I do have the Atlanta skyline behind me here. Where I'm going to have to really pan this. There we go. So I feel like I should just put myself over the city and just feel like I'm on one of those gone ESPN shows. But that would require me to sit very uncomfortably, which I'm not going to do.
I'm going to be serious. You got the best road trip schedule with the Titans this year. I'm just going to say it right now. You got the best road trip schedule. Look at that. Atlanta. I wanted the Buck actually go to Magic City like he said he was going last night. So I doubt it. I
couldn't believe when I connected this morning too. I just heard Buck Rising's voice on Fox Sports Radio. Like, hey, what's up, dude?
Man's just cheating on us out here, man.
I know.
I know. It's cheating on us, man. But it's weird in here. I know you've had to do this before without me when I've been on a road like this. I'm enjoying it. It's a
little eerie, isn't it?
It is a little eerie, but I got my dog right in front of me, so I'm good to go. I got to get you on the live stream right in front of me, though. I don't have the restream in front of me, so I'm watching you on YouTube just slightly delayed. I'll get it done. Don't worry about it.
I'll fix it for you.
I try not to know all the things, Will, that I'm supposed to know at this job from time to time. That way they can't ask me to do stuff. And I can say that right now because the bosses, I'm sure, aren't up right now.
I don't know. They're making sure I was ready and connected and had what I needed. So that's tough. Of all the days to disparage the people in the offices that are of importance. I don't know if today's the one, but that's okay.
I just snitched on myself then. It's all good. It's all good.
Titans and Falcons tonight. You'll hear it right here on 104.5 The Zone and on Titans Radio. This point of camp, Ramon, we talk a lot about the monotony, the routine of camp, especially for veterans at this point. Is it tough to kind of break out of the slog of training camp at this point? Because you don't have the excitement of camp starting. You maybe have a sense of urgency for camp ending for some guys who are on the fringe or on the border of making the roster. But for veterans, how tough of a time of year is this to be an NFL player?
It's very tough. And I don't say that as if those guys are digging ditches or, you know what I'm saying,
sure,
they live in check to check.
Within the context of being NFL players, how tough
it sucks. This is the portion of it where you're that close to the season but that far away. You know that, like, your team has to be made up of a bunch of guys that are fighting for jobs. And as much as you try to support them, like I said, like, not every vet is like this, but some guys find themselves in their own world to where the older guys to go do their own thing while the young guys got to go meet. And I don't want to say like you're wasting time, but it is that point. Like next week, it gets a little bit more real for the guys that are going to go make the squad. You know, like those veterans will, to your point, they'll get back here to Nashville and get settled in, but it is almost like training camp purgatory to where the coaches are asking you to do it just a little bit more, but you know as a pro, like it doesn't count. So you got to stay locked in, Will. You got to stay focused because the one thing that happens in these moments is guys get lax and they get injured, or they forget to do the small things as far as lifting or the stretching or the hydration side of it, because there will be a lot of tasks that have to happen over practice. That's why I told you I feel like we spoke about a couple of days ago. The incorporation of game planning for week one starts a little bit now. And with that being said, those guys got to be locked in. And I think coaches, the reason they start this week on doing it is you got to keep the guys that know the system, and that is a part of it too, the guys that know the system engaged. If you lose the veterans or the veterans become distractions, then you lose the entire team too. And like one thing that our coach always had us do was respect the guys that were fighting for their dreams. You know, respect the guys that were fighting for that 53rd man roster spot. And that's why I feel like it's super important for them to have had a good performance the second day for the joint practices. And I also say this too, if they are going to go in those games, like give the guys that need work. And I'm talking about the offensive line, like make the offensive line push, make the offensive line, hey, y'all give me 6 plays and you're done. As far as like the small skill guys, because this team doesn't have a whole lot of depth, Will, you want to get those guys run fitting, blocking and stuff like that. Maybe a route, a quick out. But yes, this is the portion of training camp where depression, to be quite honest with you, Will, sets in for a bunch of guys. And me, I'm a guy that really empathize with people a lot. So seeing dudes quit on themselves or knowing that a dude has no shot and he's asking me questions, it becomes a little dark, Will, if I can be quite honest with you. But for the younger dudes, man, they understand that they're still being tested, and it's still a day-to-day process of showing that you are worth what the coaches say you are, too. So it's this last week, because I think they'll break right now, it gets kind of weird because it gets very serious, Will, is what I'm telling you.
Stream it live at 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Coming up, what makes tonight a success? What do you want to see the Titans work on? For Cam Ward, how does Cam improve on last weekend and put together a good performance against the Atlanta Falcons? We'll do that coming up. Plus this morning, of course, Brent Hubs at 7:20 as always. Aditi Kinkhabwala of CBS Sports and of Cleveland Browns television on the preseason side of things. She was there for her Sanders debut last week. We'll get her thoughts on that, on a number of AFC headlines, and Ron Slay in hour number 4 at 9:20 this morning. In the F&M Bank chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch is where you can stream the show. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate you. Hello. We appreciate a like and a subscription on the stream as well. Coming up, we'll talk about Cam Ward. We'll talk about what tonight means for the Tennessee Titans with Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Fueled by Scooter's Coffee at 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation, man. This summer, Will, man, AC has been working overtime, I'm sure, to keep your house, mine, cool and comfortable, and just a lot of people around the mid-state, man. If you're ready to change that, go ahead and replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from Window Nation. Window Nation measures 3 times to ensure your windows fit perfectly and keep your home comfortable year-round. Their installation crews will finish the job in 1 day or less, so you can enjoy the rest of the summer with minimum disruption.
And Ramon, they've got a great deal for the people as well. This month, you can get 50% off all window styles. Yeah, that's right. You can put 0 down, make 0 payments, and pay 0 interest for 2 years. Nothing until 2027. That's a lot of zeros. We trust Window Nation because of their A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau. The 50-point inspection of every window before it leaves the factory. Your new windows can be installed, as Ramon said, in 1 day or less. You got to call them at 866-90-NATION. You can head online to windownation.com. Don't miss out. This is Window Nation's most popular deal, and the sale ends soon. Online at windownation.com. Give them a call, 866-90-NATION. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Visit a locally owned Scooters near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. With Ramon Foster in Nashville, I'm Will Bowling in Atlanta, getting ready for Titans and Falcons tonight. I have an update on the great coffee disaster of 2025, Ramon.
Okay, what happened, Will? Talk to me.
I feel like less of an idiot because the problem was the power outlet.
No.
I moved the whole machine right behind me, and it has made coffee. So I just need to go over there and pick it up.
So we're good now.
We are great.
Will,
we are great.
You know what? We mess up like this all the time, man. I just, hate these type of situations because people are going to start judging us and be like, you know what? How good is it Tennessee education now? It's just type of jokes.
Clearly good enough to know, hey, let's try the outlet.
Problem solving is what you did right there. Okay.
That's right.
You straight nothing in it this morning since Scooters isn't available.
There's never anything in my coffee while we're hosting this show.
Oh, let's go. That's what I'm talking about, Will. See, you're full adults out here. Me, I'm still out here adding stuff to mine. Yeah, I'll still add to mine, Will, is what I'm letting you know.
This is what turning 28 a couple weeks ago has done to me.
Jeez.
No, I was doing this before, but there was some time, what was it, maybe a year and a half ago, where I just didn't have coffee creamer for an extended period of time, and I just switched to black coffee, and I'm not going back.
Yeah, you did mention that. And you know what? I had somebody tell me busy people don't add anything to their coffee because they're trying to get back to the work. So
it gives you more caffeine. I'm convinced of that. My fiance Peyton does not agree with this assessment, but I do.
Well, you know what?
Gives you more caffeine.
I'll say this probably because she's not listening, but Peyton can be wrong too.
And she's probably listening, to be honest with you.
My bad.
Keys for Titans Falcons tonight. What makes tonight a success for Cam Ward, Ramon?
For him, I think I'll say this. The first game, I thought he had a real solid showing. If you were going to have an opening to a game, I thought that was as good as he could have had it in game one of his professional career. The only way he can do anything extras is if coach asks him to do more. And I'm just curious on how much he's going to be asked to do tonight. Like, is he going to go an entire quarter or a half? If he goes into a quarter or a half, man, that's going to be a situation to where I want to see him have a high completion percentage, man. Stay in the 60s. If he can go to 65, not have any almost interceptions, man. I don't think the questions of his leadership, I don't think the question of his knowledge is there. I think the question of can he make smart decisions in football games where we've seen in practice, he's tried to thread the ball in between two defenders or not seeing that safety over the top or the cornerback to that side that he's throwing to drop back in coverage. Those are the things that seems to always snake bite him in the times that we've seen or the reports that we've heard down in Atlanta or in Tampa is he misses the guy underneath or the guy over the top. And that's where I'll also add this to it too is that's what make guys like him great is watching those types of dudes thread the needle in a situation where they shouldn't be throwing the football in. It's just that he's got to either get his timing together, Will, in those moments or have a little bit more touch. So if he's going to go for a half, it is staying above the 60s in completion percentage. Handing the football off doesn't do anything for me. I know you probably feel the exact same way. So it has to be, Will, his decision-making on when he's going to gamble and when he's going to just fold them. And I think that's one of the things he's going to have to balance throughout the duration of this season in general. Him staying healthy, I mean, that happens in football. But in this preseason, what's on his shoulders? Decision-making and when he's going to let go of the ball. I'm over here snapping my fingers right now because I'm like, get rid of it is what I'm thinking in those moments, man.
It does make it kind of a tricky dilemma because you want Cam to play within structure.
Yeah.
You want Cam to stand in the pocket when things around him are chaotic. You also don't want him taking risks in a preseason game. Like, those two things don't exactly add up for me because I want Cam protecting himself as much as he can humanly possibly protect himself from injury and be ready for the start of week one in Denver in 4 weeks. So to me, it is the timing. It is if you are making a decision, are you decisive enough about it? If you are bailing out of the pocket, are you making a good decision at the end of the play? If you are staying within the structure of the offense, are you predetermining your reads based on what you think the defense is going to give you pre-snap, or do you know what the defense is going to give you based on what they've done pre-snap? We've talked about, Ramon, the procedure and the process of film study for practices. Like, they're not studying a lot of film to try out things at practice to beat the Falcons. It's why these joint practices, it's hard to really judge. I mean, obviously, there's a winner and a loser based on who played better, but it's hard to judge a winner and a loser because you're not game planning to beat the other team at what they do well or what you really feel like they don't do well. For preseason games, how much film will they have watched on the Falcons' starting defense and Raheem Morris to understand what might work against them?
Oh, all of this. This is part of the game plan. Like the plan will be generic, but there will be an expectation of what those defenses will do to you, Will. Like, I couldn't wait to get the first week tape because you would see either, okay, the tendencies that they had last year are still there. And it may be, Will, also the way I viewed it, it's player to player instead of team scheme. You get me? Like, I want to see what those guys look like. If he's dropping back, I need to see what that's looking like. If I'm the quarterback, the linebackers, how antsy are they on play action plays? Because they still got to go make their plays defensively, too. So I'm looking at the player tendencies. If my wide receivers can beat those guys, is something that Cam needs to see. Where can I have you and place the ball at in those moments right there? If they do send blitzes, I think at the Tennessee Titans, I don't know if it's going to be at Cam or the first offensive line because, again, there's gamesmanship of it also to where both coaching staffs understand that they're trying to evaluate guys more than just seeing how quickly they can beat them. You may see some blitzes up the middle from the linebackers. How does Cam navigate over those type of situations right there? Does he move up in the pocket? Does he move side to side, or does he bail? Remember, we spoke about that last week in that first series with Cam. If I was Callahan and his crew, I would potentially ask or expect the Atlanta Falcons to try to flush Cam out to see if he bails quickly. Those are the things that you're asking to see him be improved upon more than anything this week, man. And to add to the fact, too, like, we speak about the depth on this team. There are two guys I do want to see if they will allow Cam Ward, Will, to your point about what the defense is going to do to him. I wonder if Callahan and his crew will sit or pull out Calvin Ridley early and also Tony Pollard, because I do want to see what that offense does look like with Cam being the guy. Are you good with that too? Because Dawn brought that up a little bit yesterday. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because like I know what I'm getting from Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett and Van Jefferson. I would love to see a drive where Cam Ward is primarily on the field with Chimere DK and Elikai Manor.
You want to see that?
Because I think those guys end up being starting wide receivers on this team. And, I mean, good football teams have 5 or 6 guys they feel like they can rotate in and out. And I think maybe this team could get to that point by the end of the season when a lot of those young guys are acclimated and feeling more comfortable. But Elikai Manor was someone I wanted to see more of last week in Tampa. For me, if I'm looking at 1 or 2 players outside of like needing to make the roster, like Elikai Manor is obviously making the roster. But if I were to ask, like, who needs a good showing that's on the team, independent of battles, I feel like Elick has got to be the one for me because Cam Ward is starting to target him more. Cam Ward spoke this week here in Atlanta at joint practices, or Flowery Branch, which is not close to where I am right now, about how he feels like Elikai Manor was a steal. Said, I play with him in the Pac-12, RIP, and said, I feel like we stole him. He is a good football player. I like playing with him, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, but we haven't seen as much of those two together, obviously, on the preseason field. It was primarily Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, and Calvin Ridley last week. And Ridley being such a stable number one is fine, but you bring up a good point that maybe it's time to sit Calvin down and say, all right, we're taking away your safety blanket. We're gonna play this hypothetical of what if Calvin isn't available? Can you make it work? And that is something I'd love to see from Cam Ward too.
No doubt about it. Hawk has some. Hawk, what you wanted to add to it?
Yeah, it kind of to expand on your point, Will, about see what this offense can be with Calvin Ridley out of it. But don't you kind of need Ridley in the offense? And because he's going to get the starters, he's going to get the doubles, and what can this offense do when Calvin Ridley is covered? Who can he also go to? Like, is Lockett open? How much in this offense do you need Ridley to be there and just force him to look elsewhere just so he can get the other chemistry down?
I somewhat side with Will on the idea of making Cam grow up. Because to your point, Will, like I'm not sure when the Titans Hawk have a out with Calvin Ridley's contract. But you look at this situation and the way I feel like this team has said and has poured into the idea that homegrown matters, finding those, late round, high output value guys is what you're going to get from Chimere Dike and Alec Ayamana. And I do think that's a portion of it. And the other side of it for me, and I think, Will, this is what you were getting at is like injuries happen. You got two 30-year-olds on this team at wide receiver and a guy in Van Jefferson that also at some point has to step up. You got guys like Gunnar Helm that also have to step up. And I think we're looking at the future of this rebuild, then I'm with you, Will. I think you got to pour into those young guys. I think you have to be in a position to where Cam has even said it too, as far as like the rookies coming in early. The rookies got to somewhat lead the way in this rebuild. The rookies got to be the leaders on this team, and that's a hard thing to do when they're so inexperienced, but this is the time of the year where you're given grace to do that type of stuff.
Titans can get out of Calvin Ridley's deal following this season. He signed a 4-year, $92 million contract with $46.98 guaranteed at signing. The Titans would have a dead cap charge of $16 million. Spread over 2 seasons, $13 million in 26 and $5 million in 2027. I guess more than 16.
And I was going to say, and I'm not saying they have to move on from
not.
Calvin.
Of course not.
But the other part of it is decisions got to be made, because if Calvin, if he does, Will Hawk and our listeners, like get 1,300 yards and he's got 1 year left on that deal at $16 million when number ones are getting 25 plus, are you okay with giving him a little bit more too? You know what I'm saying? So, Not that you got to plan for the future, but you got to have an idea that, look, the economy of what these guys are asking for comes especially if Cam is elevating those guys. And also the other side, does Cam also want to keep Calvin for another year, personally?
Right. I would assume so, as well as they've worked together.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are, we rarely do fantasy football segments on this show, but just as an aside, just as like just one comment, like if you want a good fantasy football wide receiver, I think Calvin Ridley is going to crush it this season. And partly because of the other guys who are either older and you don't know confidently how they will hold up for 17 games in that room, or younger guys who, for the opposite reason, you come to the same conclusion. They're so young, they're so unproven and untested, and Alec Ayamana and Chimere Dike, that you don't know what you're going to get. You know what you're getting from Calvin Ridley. There's no doubt about it. I want to see Cam Ward and the rookies get some work in today. And I think, too, Ramon, because of just how tough it was to really take anything away from game one for them. I mean, Tim Boyle did not offer you a whole lot to help you learn what you had at wide receiver. And granted, that's just life in the NFL.
Right.
Like, if there were great third-string quarterbacks, they wouldn't be third-string quarterbacks. They'd be somewhere else. It's the reality of what this league is. It's preseason football. I don't know what people really expect from a lot of these guys, but that is one thing I think that's important about tonight is, all right, we lost a little bit of time in Tampa because we could not function as an offense because we're either turning the ball over or it just looks like our third quarterback has never played with the backup wide receivers. Trevor Siemian, from all reports and all accounts, was decent enough this week to suggest that, all right, you might actually be able to sustain some drives and actually, see Xavier Restrepo more than just 11 snaps, or James Prochet and Jaquan Jackson, like all the guys that are battling to make this team a wide receiver.
No doubt. And I see Mr. Keefe is saying he hoping Restrepo has a good night and stuff like that. That's the same point as the quarterback play, though, right? Well, like if you got guys that know how to get the ball to those individuals, man, when it comes down to it, Trevor Siemian being a little bit more of a savvy guy. Because, again, this is the biggest test that these guys are going to have in the preseason when it comes down to what they can show they can do over the course of the season. Like, it's easier for wide receivers to get incorporated, but I was having a conversation about Will Howard in Pittsburgh. Like, he broke his hand, and he's done for the preseason. Like, the way his career path will, to your point about guys getting looks, his career path to being a future NFL starter is probably done because he has no ability to show what he's capable of in the preseason. Like, these guys got to get those competitive live reps against other teams. Your Xavier Restrepo's, your Gunnar Helms, your Chimere Dike's, right, and Alec Ayumaners. You have to see these guys, man, when it comes down to them versus somebody that just don't simply like them because they got on a different color jersey.
Let's go to the phone. 615-737-1045 is our number. Mike leads us off wanting to talk Titans this morning. Hey, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, boys. Hey, I'm just trying to, maybe I am overthinking this. It just seems like to me, like I was listening to Don and them yesterday as well. Why they were just saying if we just eliminate the turnovers, this could be a top 10 offense. I feel like it's like that just seems so easy to say that, but also like I feel like they're closer to a bottom 10 offense if they just eliminate the turnovers than just being a top 10 offense. And like Cam saying, "Oh, we're just we have a top 5 wide receiver core in the league." Like, is he saying I can make them a top 5, or like where we're at now is a top 5? It just seems so like a lot to do in one small little year.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call. I mean, to your second point, you'd have to ask Cam what he meant, as I don't know. I won't speak for him, but to the first point about if you eliminate the turnovers, this being a top 10 offense, I think that's a stretch, Ramon.
Top 10 is asking for it. I think that's very optimistic.
A lot of really good quarterbacks in this league that are top 10 offenses. Like, I think the goal is to get back to average, just on all fronts. Just be a middle-of-the-road unit as an offense and trust that your defense can make enough plays and your special teams won't throw it away for you.
I'm looking at, like, last year, Mike, just I will say, what was he saying? If you eliminate half the turnovers,
most of them, yeah.
Most of them. Like, looking at the games last year, there were 52 sacks, Mike, on that team. Like, that sets you back first and foremost, okay? Like, I'd say the sweet spot for sacks given up is between, like, 25 to, like, 32. Like, you can live a good life there. If you're really living good, if you're, like, in the mid-20s, like, that's living real good. But looking at the games last year, the first four games of the season last year before the bye, you had 3 against Chicago, 2 against the Jets, 3 against Green Bay, and 1 against Miami. That's 9 turnovers in the first 4 games right there. And then on top of that, you even look at some of the other games, man, where you just got thrown out of the club. Colts was a 1-score game. He had a turnover there. The Detroit Lions was 4 turnovers. Like, we're looking at the Bengals game, 6 turnovers. I do think there's some truth to being better because of the turnovers, because ball control, I think, is going to be a huge part of this process for them. And I think it starts with Cam, and I also just think it starts with field positioning side of it, too. Like,
right.
If you get half that number down, you have a different conversation into what I think we spoke about with Coach Brian Callahan, being a competitive team.
So 40 sacks was 16th in the NFL last year. 40 sacks allowed. It was the Bucs who allowed 40 sacks as a team. So if you allow 40 sacks, you look back at data for the past 4 or 5 years, typically that's average in the NFL. I think this offensive line could be better than that, to be quite honest with you, if it stays healthy. So I start there to say, yes, I do think this offensive line is the closest unit to a top 10 unit. But when you look at the amount of production that this offense had compared to some of the other top offenses in the league, this offense last season was 26th in terms of yardage. The other part of it is, Ramon, that I don't know if this defense is good enough at creating turnovers themselves to allow you to be a top 10 offense in terms of points. Like, I'd be curious to know what the 3HL, and I was driving, so I didn't hear what the conversation in question, but like, are we talking points? Are we talking top 10 in yardage? Are we talking about quarterback rating? Are we talking like efficiency? Like, yes, you've gotten better. Those changes haven't happened in a vacuum. Other contenders, other good offenses have also gotten better. I mean, you look at a team like Cincinnati, who had maybe an MVP candidate last year in Joe Burrow. Like, they feel like their defense is better enough to where that offense can be even more efficient and more productive. So I'm hesitant to crown them as top 10 just because there's so much unknown, and I still think Cam Ward is going to have some turnovers and going to have some moments that make you want to pull your head out, because it's what he did at Miami, and it's what they're going to try to coach out of him here as a rookie.
So it's 34 offensive turnovers to 18 that the defense got back for you. So, I mean, that's just giving the ball away. You're right. And Jayhawk said the conversation was just total offense. If they can eliminate half of those possibly, then they could be a better team. That's yet to be seen, because there's a lot of situational ball that's got to be said, it got to be played. But legitimately, like, you take care of the ball, you have a better chance of winning. I do know that.
So these are the top 10 offenses in the NFL last year in terms of total offense. Cincinnati won. All right, sorry. I'm looking at passing yards. I, for the life of me, cannot find total offense. Here we go. Nope, that's still just passing. Passing bias. Running backs everywhere upset. All right, here we go. Now I finally have it. Total offense in the NFL regular season last year. Baltimore, Detroit, Tampa, San Francisco, Green Bay, Atlanta, Washington, Philadelphia, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo, 10th.
Dope.
You got to be better than one of those offenses to be top 10. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't. And with respect to what the Titans are right now, I mean, look, this is a process. It's a rookie quarterback. This is wide receivers that we don't know who's who. We don't know who's going where, but the top 10 offenses of the NFL, again last year, Baltimore, Detroit, Tampa, San Francisco, Green Bay, Atlanta, Washington, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Buffalo. I mean, the MVP of the league, his offense was 10th in the NFL last year.
Only one I think you side eye is what San Francisco did. They were 6-11 and had a high-powered offense, but they also gave up 26 points a game too defensively.
I mean, you've got the Rams are outside that. The Chiefs weren't even a top 10 offense last year. The Dolphins, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Texans, and the Titans near the bottom of 27. Interesting, though. I admire the optimism, but my goal is to get back to middle of the road.
Yeah.
Middle of the road. Top 15, realistic for this team.
Mayer's in the YouTube right now. He said top 15. He said
okay.
Yeah,
I can live with top 15.
Yeah.
Top 10's a different. That's different gravy.
Yeah, for sure.
615-737-1045. ESPN's Pete Thamel revealing expected punishments for Michigan. NCAA going to bring something down today. We'll talk about it next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you thinking about getting into the trades, or are you ready to take your skills to the next level? Lead Company is where real career growth begins. And I'm here to tell you that Lead Company, they're looking. They are in the market. They are hiring skilled tradespeople in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, and more. With 80-plus years in business, Lead Company takes care of its people with competitive pay, great benefits, free training, and advancement opportunities. So you can apply today at leadcompany.com/careers. That's leadcompany.com/careers. Lead Company has over 80 years of experience since 1944. They're open 24/7, 14 community locations, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama as well. And they have over 1,700 employees. The thing I love about Lead Company, they're involved in our communities. Little League sports, high school sports, local events. They're proud partners of the Tennessee Titans, Nashville Predators, and the Chattanooga Lookouts out in East Tennessee as well. Lead Company, a great place to work. If you want to check them out, leadcompany.com/careers. You can always call Lead Company at 615-567-1000. Online, leadcompany.com/careers. That's Lead Company, all you need. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. 615-737-1045 is our number. So, Ramon, today there is punishment expected for Michigan. Sharon Moore has already been suspended a couple of games. And on Friday, today, the NCAA Infractions Committee is expected to publicly announce its findings. Do you expect anything at all significant other than a little just slap on a little wrist? Just a little, there you go. Sorry.
I think some fines, to be quite honest with you, probably is going to be a part of it. But it ain't much that the NCAA can do that can hurt them. It's just the way, not that I'm looking for that to be the case, but the NCAA do this big rollout of punishments from time to time and put this big, presser out about what they're going to do. And most of the time, the schools have already set their punishments, and fines will just be paid. And the billion-dollar business that universities are, that's just a drop in the bucket for them. And my question is, from the NCAA, is where is this money going to? That's my only question as to what they can and can't do. The guy that they want is in the NFL. Yeah, he might have a 5-year ban. I don't think Harbaugh is going to get fired in the next 5 years and want to come back to college. Sharon Moore may be the only one that takes the hit. And I say Connor Stallions too, but
he's not even a part of Michigan anymore.
Exactly. So those guys are going to be fine. What's the most they can do to Connor Stallions also? 6 games also?
Show calls. Yeah,
Show calls.
He is not as much, I think, the focus of this as it is
the big dogs.
The university is finally getting its own punishment. And Sharon Moore, the fact that he deleted more than 50 text messages from Connor Stallions the same day the sign-stealing scandal broke in October of 2023. I think the only thing you might get today is another game for Sharon Moore or another 2 games for Sharon Moore. So
right.
Pete Thamel went on Pat McAfee yesterday and said it's likely to be a hefty fine. Said there's not an expectation of any kind of postseason ban. There is no expectation that any of their accomplishments are going to be taken away. So Michigan's national title is Michigan's national title. Yeah. That's not going to change. The real news that's going to come out of tomorrow, Pete Thamel says yesterday, so the news that's going to come out today is regarding the suspension of Sharon Moore. Back in May, they self-imposed 2 games, which is games 3 and 4 of the season. So he can coach games 1 and 2. What they're going to find out from the NCAA is that accepted or if they're going to add any additional suspensions, and the 52 text messages from 2023, the part of it in question.
They were saying also the Sharon Moore text messages didn't have anything to do with the actual spying. Yeah. It was it's just
right.
Right.
And John Mateer has an inside joke about sports gambling on Venmo. Of course it had something to do with it. But also, can we prove it? No.
And Sharon Moore has also been in trouble before with recruiting during COVID. So they're going to try to get him on that the second time around, too. So he's a repeat offender. So I'm interested. He's got to probably get 2 more games. Just in general because of the repeat offender side of what he's done, So the fine, I don't think, does much. Even with everything that Tennessee had against it, we made it to the college football playoffs with reduced scholarships. You know what I'm saying? The operation continues on. Coach Sharon Moore missed games probably the way they're saying the NFL is doing with the Kansas City Chiefs at his own, his liking. Did you see that also? The Rashee Rice situation?
The Rashee Rice, yeah. It feels like that whole thing has just become a side story.
It is nuts. Insane.
Yeah, it's crazy how much discipline of sports gambling is judged based off of things that hurt people's lives off the field. But anyway, I digress. The Michigan schedule, they start off with New Mexico. Sharon Moore, a homecoming for him at Oklahoma, where he played September 6th. Central Michigan, September 13th, and Nebraska, September the 20th. We talked about this when the suspension came out, and they said it was a 2-game suspension, but games 3 and 4, about how disrespectful that was to Nebraska. Yeah. We're so confident We could beat you. We'd rather play Oklahoma.
Well, to play them.
We'd rather our coach be available for Oklahoma than for you.
Crazy, man.
I mean, if they could really cherry pick the games, they'd suspend him for New Mexico and Central Michigan.
Yeah, they would.
If they could. But they are in it. I mean, right after those first 4 games, I mean, they host Wisconsin. They go to USC on October 11th.
Sure do.
I mean, not a cakewalk opening 6 weeks, especially not for a Big Ten team who, Big Ten teams know what cakewalks are like, and this is not one of them over the first 6 games.
You just quick with the zingers this morning.
Well, no, I mean, what do we do? Like, it's 2025 in college football.
Yeah.
Teams aren't scheduling good opponents. I credit Michigan for scheduling a good out-of-conference opponent because of the risk that means in making the playoff in today's format.
I just love the fact that you're quick with it this morning, man. I can tell the coffee's hit already this morning.
I still haven't drank it. I still can't figure out this freaking Nespresso machine. It's behind me. It's taunting me from the table behind me, Ramon. It's like you can't get any coffee.
It's more simple than I'm sure you're making it out to be.
Oh
too.
my
That's
gosh!
what
Well, the
sucks
problem
about it.
is they only gave me 1 caffeinated coffee pod. So I usually a good hotel.
Yeah.
And this is a good hotel. I'm not complaining about the hotel in any sense, but just about the coffee in general. Usually, you get 3 regular coffees and 1 decaf.
That's
or
true.
even 2 and 2. I'm okay with a 50-50 split. Well, this one only has 1 caffeinated, and the rest of them are decaf, and the little thing has split open because I've tried to shove it in the machine because I'm so annoyed that I don't have caffeine yet. I'm getting irritable at this point, Ramon, and it is only giving me hot water out of this machine. So I'm going to probably make some nice English breakfast tea if I can't figure it out in this next break.
Depending on this break, you might want to go ahead to the lobby real quick, get you one of those.
I don't have time.
That's true.
I would have already done that if
That's
I could.
true, too.
I wonder
Can we
if I
delay
can
the show for you so you can get so you can be caffeinated and opinionated.
Don't
Whatever's
tempt me with
best for you, Will.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Jayhawk got his ways.
This show's not about what's best for me. It's okay.
No, but your name's on this show. We got to find a way to make you happy in this thing, Will.
It's all right.
Ramon is in the big chair today.
I am in the big chair. I can make these decisions, Will.
615-737-1045. Who is under the most pressure tonight as the Titans take on the Falcons? We'll tell you next.
Don't be surprised if you see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds this week. They know a once-a-year opportunity when they see it. And right now, for a limited time, every GIA-certified diamond engagement ring at Genesis is an extra 20% off. Genesis already unbeatable everyday prices. You can't miss this annual event, and this year, Genesis is even including lab-grown diamonds as well, okay? And an extra 20% off from a half a carat to 20 carats, man. Every shape, every style, rounds, ovals, radiance, cushions, pairs, emeralds, princess cuts. At Genesis, the vault is open and the values are unreal. This is the event smart buyers wait all year for. But you have to worry, selection is best right now, and the quantities are limited, and is one per customer. Please, it's the Genesis Diamonds Diamond Extravaganza, where you get an extra 20% off stunning GIA and lab-grown diamond engagement rings. Only at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
It is 7:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. It's a Tennessee Titans game day as the Titans are in Atlanta taking on the Falcons with kickoff set for 6 p.m. Central Time for preseason game number 2. 3HL has you covered this afternoon with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff before Titans radio coverage takes over for pregame at 5 o'clock right here on 104.5 The Zone. Quarterback Cam Ward and the rest of the Titans starters are expected to play the first 2 series minus Kevin Zeitler and Jeffrey Simmons, among maybe some others. Meanwhile, the Falcons are resting most of their starters, including quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Outside of the Titans versus Falcons, it's just one preseason game tonight on the slate. The Kansas City Chiefs are in Seattle taking on the Seahawks with a 9 p.m. Central kickoff on NFL Network. Seattle head coach Mike McDonald confirmed this week that the Seahawks will play a portion of their starters for tonight's games, including quarterback Sam Darnold and wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. In other NFL news yesterday, undrafted free agent wide receiver out of the University of Texas, Isaiah Bond, will face no further criminal charges on his sexual assault case. Bond was expected to go high in the NFL draft this year, but went undrafted instead. He announced himself on social media that he intends to sign with the Cleveland Browns, but no deal has yet to be finalized. And speaking of the Browns, second-round draft pick and running back Quinshon Judkins will not face any formal charges for a domestic violence and battery case in which he was arrested back in July. Prosecutors declined to file those charges, and Judkins is the only member of the 2025 rookie draft class that has not signed their rookie contract to this point. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning continues. Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Alongside the 11-year NFL veteran, Vol for Life, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. Both of them back in Nashville. I am Will Bowling in Atlanta. Titans and Falcons tonight. We'll shift gears, though, and talk about another Tennessee team that is set to play in the stadium that I can almost see.
Yeah.
At the moment. In just a couple of weeks, Brent Hubs of AllQuest joins us coming up here in just about 15 minutes as we will get our weekly visit with him, with Ron Slay at 9:20. Aditi Kinkhabwala going to join us at 8:20 Friday, and we're acting like it. Ramon Foster.
Yes, we are, man. By the way, went to the break room, got me some coffee, just so you know, loving it. Only got one problem with it, man. Only got one problem with it, Will. You know what it is, man. I saw the culprit who made it. I love this guy. He's an awesome dude, okay? But he makes the strongest, the absolutely darkest, okay? The way to fill in the coffee grounds filter cup of coffee ever. And that's our guy, Kenny Smooth. It's straight gas.
Grounds at the bottom of the cup level.
Oh, my God. I got to tell Kenny. It's like, Kenny, man, listen, it's 2 scoops of this, okay? Like, be cool is what I'm telling you. Like,
a lot of coffee talk on today.
It's already great quality, okay, with what we got going on right here. There's no sense to just, it's power hour for him when he makes a pot of coffee is what I'm telling you, man. He likes it strong, and I'm here for it, and I'm still going to drink it because it's awesome.
Love it. Who has got the most pressure tonight, Ramon? Is there one group? Is there a player who has got to perform tonight in Titans Falcons?
Ooh, backup linebackers and secondary. They were obsolete, I feel like, this past weekend, man. I think there was some good stuff to happen with the big boys up front defensively, but seeing that second wave of linebackers and secondary make tackles in the open field has to be a part of it. That team was able to run that clock and run the football in a way, Will, I thought that wasn't the Titans' way, is what I'm getting at. They could not stop a nosebleed going into that third and fourth quarter. So defensively, I would say the entire unit, like the showing of starting from beginning to end, has to be there. And far removed from that is the linebackers, is the guys that they're going to be your teamer guys, going to be your guys that on those punt returns and kickoff returns. Those guys got to show their worth, man. That pressure for that group is immense right now. Well, it just is. You asked me earlier, what do the vets feel in these moments? Well, it's the opposite of these guys. Their anxiety has to be super high. Their ability to show that they are capable of being the 1%ers of making an NFL roster, there cannot be a slow bleed when it comes down to them finishing this game. And I felt like last week they got overly exposed, Will, in the way that I'm sure Denard Wilson was losing his mind, man.
Mm-hmm. It's something I'm going to be interested to watch down on the sideline tonight is the interaction, the conversation for those backup defensive players.
Okay.
Who, to me, Ramon, I think it's backup linebacker. I think it's backup defensive line, where this team is really looking for depth. And secondary, too. I mean, not to leave them out of this. I mean, this team needs depth everywhere, to be quite honest with you. And I feel like at offensive line, you feel great about your depth compared to where you were a season ago. Maybe not as much everywhere else. You want other positions to catch up in terms of depth the way your offensive line has this offseason. To me, it's defensive line. I think when you look at things that didn't work last week, and that's where I begin to evaluate this game, is where can we make improvements? Where can this team right some wrongs from Saturday night in Tampa Bay? I mean, giving up 187 rushing yards is the start for me.
That's filthy.
And especially in the preseason where things are more vanilla, you're not going up against quarterbacks that can really hurt you. I mean, they're still NFL quarterbacks. Like Easton Stick and Emory Jones are fine.
Who?
Exactly. I mean, it's at North Dakota State and, I guess, Florida quarterbacks. So I think you look at Cam Horsley, Isaiah Rakes, Philip Bleedy. You look at Josiah Bronson and Carlos Watkins, James Lynch. Lynch more of a just not starter, but almost backup.
I thought he showed well. Lynch did in the first quarter. Yeah,
he essentially started the game last week because he had no Jeffrey Simmons or Devontae Sweat. So he's at least someone that's been around a little bit. But I think for those undrafteds, just somebody to flash, somebody to say, I'm going to make this team, and I'm going to step in and do a job, because that's what this team needs, Ramon. They just need guys to step up who are young and unproven and inexperienced to say, no, I'm going to be a vet in real time. Like, I'm going to learn how to be a pro, and I'm going to give you important snaps.
No doubt about it. If we don't see Xavier Restrepo early, is that a sign also?
I mean, I feel like we've already gotten signs on him, to be honest. Like, I think we have our answer.
But he's just going to always be top of the conversation because of what he brought from Miami. And it's the fairy tale of him and Cam.
It is, but Ramon, there was not a lot of separation last week.
I'm with you. I saw
between him and the DBs.
Absolutely saw it.
The speed limitations appear to be enough to keep him from being a contributor on this active roster.
For sure.
It's just the reality of it for him. Like, you have got to do so many things really well in order to make up for a lack of top-end speed at the wide receiver position. And I just don't see it, to be quite honest with you. I did in June.
Yep.
That was June. And we talked about it then to say, like, well, right now, you feel like you might be one of your best 53 players. 11 snaps in week 1 of preseason against Tampa Bay does not bode well for Xavier Restrepo's chances of making this team. I will never say never. I mean, look, he could go for 8 and 120 tonight and 2 touchdowns, and maybe we're having a totally different conversation on Monday. So it's still in his hands. There's still time to change this opinion that we have. But as of right now, Ramon, I think it's very slim that he's on this team.
I feel the same way, too. At best, I feel like he's a practice squad guy. And heart is something they say we cannot measure. And, all those cliches and stuff. But, man, there is a component of either you can run with the big dogs or you can. And that part of his running game, man, I think is going to end up being problematic for him. If he is close to that 4.8 and it shows in NFL games, or guys can match his speed, and guys are a little bit more savvy in their technique when it comes down to how they play defensive back or linebacker for that matter, Will. Yeah, he's outside looking in at this point, man. So he'll get what he get. And again, the other part of it is again, you got to create value in a position that he is. And his value has to be, like, for an offensive lineman. If you're a guard, like if you're a tackle, your ability to play a guard also plays a part of it. If you're a guard, you need to be able to play center. If you're a linebacker, you need to be able to rush the quarterback or be really great on teams. The more you could do, the longer you stay around this league in the NFL when you're a young guy. And I would say from a 4th rounder all the way down to undrafted. The more you can do, the longer you can stay around. What's more that he can add to his game other than being a good route runner that people cover up at this point?
I mean, I'm with you. To your point, like, guys have heart and you want heart.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys who run 4.5s that have heart.
And we've seen dudes,
respectfully.
We've seen dudes with heart outside the Titans facility holding cardboard boxes trying to get tryouts, respectfully.
I know. It takes a lot more than that and being so close with your quarterback. I'm rooting for the guy. I'd love for him to make the team. And we've talked about it last week. I am intrigued by the potential. I'm intrigued by the potential with Restrepo because I think this team could use as Coach Mack would say, gadget slot to be a safety blanket for Cam Ward. I just don't see the production right now to suggest that he's going to be that guy right away. I really don't.
No doubt.
Coming up next, Brent Hubs of All Quested on 3 will join us. Tennessee 15 days away from an opener in Atlanta, where I am right now, against the Syracuse Orange Men. We'll dive into that. And Adidas being the new apparel provider of Tennessee athletics. With VolQuest's Brent Hubs coming up next. Friday morning at Ramon and Will continues, fueled by Scooter's Coffee from Atlanta. I'm Will Bowling. Ramon Foster back in our Nashville studios, joined this morning as we are in hour 2 every single Friday by our good friend Brent Hubs of AllQuest and On3. Brent, 2 more weeks. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. 15 days away. It's Sinclair Cannon Day for you, Will Bowling.
Hey.
Sinclair Cannon Day.
I like it.
He's going to love that. I got to let him know,
There's a lot of good 15s. We just got to make sure Will goes down the right path on 15s here.
See,
so it's Sinclair Cannon Day.
I remembered the mistake I made last year, so I was going to let you start with the 15 this morning, so I did not repeat it.
There you go. There you go. Hope you guys are well.
Yes.
We're great. I get a little bit more excited, Brent, because I can see Mercedes-Benz Stadium from where we are here downtown to week 1. For you, if you are picking one question about this football team that has nothing to do with quarterback, putting that to the side, what's the biggest question mark you have about this team that you feel like they got to answer in the next 15 days?
Well, that's a great question because I think so much of it hinges around the quarterbacks, right? I mean, you say wide receivers, but you're really saying passing game. You want to see what the passing game looks like. I think defensively, it's can they get to the quarterback with regularity off the edge? Joshua Josephs and Caleb Herring, stepping in James Pierce's shoes. Offensively, if you're looking for a singular stat, it's how well did they finish in the red zone. But I think offensively, it's all going to focus around the passing game and so the wide receivers, and ultimately that will include the quarterback. I just have a belief that this team's going to run the football. Given Josh Heupel's history, and I like where this offensive line is at right now, I feel like they're going to be able to run the football. I think the question is going to be what can they do, and maybe what wrinkles do they have, Will, in the passing game? What have they put together this offseason for a few different wrinkles to the passing game?
Brent, how much closer are we, you think, from getting a determination, a final decision on who that starting quarterback is? And do you expect Josh Heupel to wait until game week to make that public? How close do you think internally they are to Joey Aguilar officially being the guy?
Well, I think Josh Heupel's not going to announce anything today. He will visit with the media after the scrimmage. He's obviously, at that point, will not have seen the scrimmage tape. He's not going to make that announcement today. He meets with the media next Tuesday of next week. He could do it then, or it would be game week. So maybe he does it on Tuesday if it's clear cut and running with it. I think there'll be plenty of speculation over the weekend from a bunch of people about Joey Aguilar being the guy, unless something crazy happens in the scrimmage this morning. I mean, there's still a competition going into this morning in the scrimmage that'll start in about 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, Joey's got to go play and do things the right way today. This is the last, I'm not saying the competition's over, but this is the last, put the ball down. Coaches are all on the sideline. We're going to play in the stadium in a bunch of different scenarios. And, we're going to turn the defense loose. How do you react? How do you play? This is really the last one of those because they move into mock game week starting next week. And then, that'll be scout team and more focus on an opponent and kind of what game weeks look like and get you ready for that. So I think it happens either Tuesday next week or Josh Heupel is going to wait and announce it on the Monday of game week. One of those 2 days would be the official date. I think there'll be plenty of stuff written about it between now and then, though.
We're talking about Brent Hubs of AllQuest and On3 this morning. Hubs, you got a shout-out from my guy Ron Slay said we pulled you out the garden this morning, okay? So he's happy to hear you.
Hey, listen, Ron's got to understand. I mean, open gym's over, so that means the garden's over here. We're focused in on getting ready. We're not in the garden this morning. All right, playtime's over. Now we're in team function. We're going through our regular schedule, so we're focused on getting ready to play some football here. So open gym at the Y or the Boys Club or wherever Ron Slade drove to Nashville every weekend to play when he wasn't supposed to back when he was a ball. Those days are over. We're out of the garden. Well, yeah. But I appreciate Ron listening this morning.
I knew you was going to give it to him, Hubs. That's what I'm talking about, man. Speaking of playtime being over, Hubs, he's laughing his butt off right now, too, just so you know. Speaking of playtime being over, man, Mike Matthews, let's start with him, or just anybody else that you have in mind offensively, Hubs, with how this offense is set up. is there a star on this offense going into 2025? Is one of these quarterbacks going to have a guy that they can go to and you can be sure of him the way you see this team set up right now?
I don't think we know the answer to that question. I mean, I think that happens when the lights come on, which is not the ideal situation. You would love to have a guy come back that you feel really good about. I think they're confident in Mike Matthews, and I think Mike Matthews has certainly shown that he has that ability. But, I mean, he played so sparingly last year. Mm-hmm. How many Fridays did we talk about, is this Mike Matthews week? Right. Are we going to see more Mike Matthews? So, I mean, the opportunity's there for him, but I do think there's a prove-it factor for him. As we know, some guys are better practice players than they are game day players, and some guys are better on game day than they are in practice. I think Mike has had a good camp overcoming the knee injury and things he's has dealt with. But I think to be a star and be the go-to guy, you got to go prove it against some competition in week one. I mean, Brazel's the most experienced guy, but, you didn't leave the end of the year with confidence that he was your go-to playmaker. He made a couple of key plays, obviously, the Alabama game being the biggest, but he also had some moments where he wasn't the go-to guy, and he's missed all of fall camp. I mean, we're talking about probably sometime next week, they will have all their scholarship receivers on the field for the first time this preseason camp. So there's just a lot of prove it to you at that position, and I think for somebody to emerge as a go-to guy, it's going to happen, week one, week two, when we see it in game action.
Well, it seems defensively, Hubs, like they have those guys primed and ready to go, man. Coach Martinez mentioned last week that Ricky Gibson had a way better season than he got credit for. Jamar McCoy got that. But if this front end, the defensive line, and the back end secondary work hand-to-hand, Hubs, this can be a top 15 unit defensively. Is that how you see them on the defensive side of the ball to support the questions at quarterback and the playmakers offensively?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like this defense is not going to take a giant step back, even though they lost Omar Norman-Lott, a second-round draft pick, and obviously James Pierce in the first round. I think that when you look at them across the defensive front, they've done a really good job at developing guys and working guys in as they were young players in game action and meaningful game action. I mean, you feel like Brent Hubs can play. It's his time. He's played for the last 2 years meaningful snaps. Caleb Herring's played some meaningful snaps. He's going to take a bigger role now. Tyree West has played meaningful snaps. Now he's going to be joined by some guys. Don Bailey, obviously. There's enough veterans and there's enough talented younger players who have played some. That's a nice mix. I think Coach Garner's commitment to playing 10 to 12 guys a year really pays off. And it means you're not rebuilding that front when you have graduation losses. You're kind of, reloading to a degree. I think in the back end, the secondary is where are they at the safety spot opposite turn time, and what happens at the nickel spot? Is this going to be, because Jamar McCoy is not going to play week one. It feels like this is going to be Colton Hood and Ricky Gibson at the corners, and then Jalen McMurray at star. So how does he play there? I do like where Ricky Gibson's at plus 20 pounds, and I think he was really consistent down the stretch last year and played good football. So there is a ton of confidence there, and I think Ricky Gibson has a ton of confidence in himself right now, and Colton Hood doesn't lack for confidence, even though he's in a new defense. So I think they've got a lot of parts to work with and a lot of things that you feel comfortable with. And the other thing, too, whether we like it or not, that is a defense that has gotten better year over year over year. So you feel like they're trending in the right way. Offensively, everybody's like, can they get back to where they were? Right. It's a different mental approach by fans. Fans are like, is it going to be more like 22? We got to fix offensively, even though they scored points last year. But that you feel like offensively they've not been what they were the last couple of years, whereas defensively they've been significantly better the last 2 years than they were in the 22 season when the offense was off the charts.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest on 3, your guests this morning on Ramon and Will. Brent, I wanted to ask you about Braylon Staley at wide receiver. How much optimism is there about him being a potential breakout star? I know another one that's got to get healthy, but you talk about what Josh Heupel has done with some fast slot guys and just guys that can take the top off the defense. Is there a pathway in a world we could live in where Braylon Staley is maybe that breakout star on this Tennessee offense?
Well, I want to choke his hamstring because I've had him as a guy all summer long that I was buying stock in, and then he doesn't go through enough practice in fall camp. I don't think there's any question that at the slot position, he can be a really good player in this offense. I think Tennessee has a belief that he can be really productive as a slot in this offense. He's got to get to the practice field. He's got to stay there. He's got to stay healthy. And I think that's the frustration. He didn't go at the end of spring because he was dealing with this issue. The other hamstring bothered him last fall camp, and now he's got a hamstring this fall camp. He just got to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I do think he is the guy in the slot that you look at and go, oh, yeah, he can do a ton of things. I mean, he can – no offense to him, but I think he can make you forget about Squirrel White pretty quickly, and put you back a little bit in that Velus Jones type deal in the slot. But he's got to practice, and he's got to stay healthy. And I think right now that's the biggest question mark you have with him is can he get healthy? He should practice next week, and can he stay healthy, or is he one of those that it's going to be problematic? And we've seen some of that. I've seen some of that throughout my 30 years where guys are like, they're really talented, but, man, they just can't stay healthy enough to play. And he's got to go prove he can play week in and week out if he's going to have a chance to be a breakout star.
Brent, when you look at the quarterback battle, I know it's unfair to suggest that George McIntyre is going to start right away, obviously. But as someone who has, according to reports and according to conversations we've had, looked solid, has been maybe the most accurate quarterback at the first scrimmage of those top three, do you feel like there's surprise in a good way about how quickly George McIntyre has taken to this offense and performed well so far in practices?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that, you would look at him and everybody would say ahead of schedule. The thing George does two things really well. One, his blood pressure is about 87/64, 24 hours a day. Throw a touchdown, never changes. Okay, throws an interception, never changes. Has a busted play, we're fine. Let's go play the next one. Breaks off, checks into something that yields a 50-yard run. Yeah, okay, that's what we're supposed to do. Even keel. And I think that's vital at that position. I think that's unusual for a young player to be that even keel. I think at that point, emotion sometimes, for younger quarterbacks, come into play. It doesn't seem to with George. I think the other thing George does really well is he's a quick processor. He sees it, he feels it, he throws it, he makes quick decisions, and he gets going. And I think those two things are why he's remained in this race and it has had the camp that he's had. So, yeah, I mean, I think that George has sped up his process of being able to manage this offense the way that you want to. And I think he'll continue to get better and better. The question is going to be, for me, I don't think George is going to start the first game. I think it's an upset if George is starting early in the year. I think we all would agree that that's likely the case. I don't think you're going to put him out there against Syracuse to start the season. Where are they in the backup role? How do they divvy up the reps starting next week between, who's the number 2 and then who's the number 3? How does that happen? And how much does George continue to improve throughout the fall? I think there's a lot of people really happy George McIntyre is wearing orange and where he's at in his progression as a quarterback right now.
Man, Hubs, we got so many nuggets to get to, man. I'm going to get right to it then with this next one. Adidas, man. Deal's done. July 21st, 2026.
July 1st, 2026.
July 1st, 2026, Hubs. How did it come about? What's the perks of it? And, of course, a lot of people just upset about Nike. What would you tell those folks right now?
Well, Nike didn't want you to the level of that Adidas did. So, do you dance with the date that you brung, or you going to go with somebody else, or what are you going to do? And I think Adidas made it very clear how much they valued Tennessee, and it showed in the way they went about putting a deal together, and kind of the courtship, and then 2, what the actual deal looked like. I think we're living in a day and age of dollars and cents, and every dollar counts. I think Adidas's commitment to the NIL process and the student athlete is at a different place than where Nike's is. And I think as a result of that, once Adidas put their deal out in place, Nike wasn't going to counter. They weren't going to get to that level of where Adidas was with Tennessee. And quite honestly, it sounds like it became a complete no-brainer. Like you're not going to leave that much money laying on the table. If it were even or close to even, maybe. I mean, you go back and look when Tennessee went to Nike, they took less money from Nike when they left Adidas because coaches and everybody wanted Tennessee to be a Nike school because they felt like it was important in recruiting. I think in this day and age, student athletes are not worried about what gear they wear as much as they are. If you can say, hey, you're going to be an ambassador for Adidas, and we're going to give you X number of dollars every year at all sports and all, student athletes in all sports. And then on top of that, there'll be other NIL deals, and there'll be other NIL athletes that are Adidas athletes. So I think it was a dollars and cents thing. And I think Adidas made it very clear Tennessee was going to be a flagship school for them. They wanted to really plant their flag in the college football space, and they have some schools, but they wanted another big school, and Tennessee was it. And I think the belief is if Tennessee had said no and turned down the money, then you would see Adidas planting their flag with another school, maybe another SEC school that's in the window here in a little bit to look at a new apparel deal. There's a lot of people in college athletics trying to figure out what this deal exactly looks like, and that's why Tennessee and Adidas have not released details on exactly how the finances of it all works, but it involves the student athlete greatly.
Is it the Danny White way when it comes down to a deal being made like this too, being aggressive to keeping Tennessee all sports on the forefront of this thing too? Because there's, soccer benefiting from this, golf benefits from this, track benefits from this. This is a global brand. I feel like people don't understand the weight of how big this deal is. But is it Danny that facilitates this type of movement also?
Well, I spoke with Chris McGuire, who was vice president of operations for Adidas North America on, Tuesday before the announcement came out. One of the things that appealed to Adidas was how aggressive Tennessee had been and how on the forefront Tennessee had been in the NIL space once it arrived. That tells me Adidas wants to be aggressive, and they want to be aggressive in all sports. And I think Danny White is looking, he wants to make sure Tennessee is a have and not a have-not. He's always looking for competitive advantages and deals if he can find them. As a competitor, Danny White knows I can't go win games. Where I have to be, and I have to win as a competitor, is I have to put my programs and my sports in the best shape to win that they can. Whether that's doing things in baseball to get those guys more money through the years to kind of level the playing field with Vanderbilt and compete where they needed to in the SEC, whether that's this deal, whatever else it might be, that he feels like, hey, if we do this, we can create a competitive advantage for ourselves. And Tennessee and Danny White's trying to create a competitive advantage with Adidas.
Brent Hubs of AllQuest and on 3, our guest Friday mornings here on the show. Brent, you are in the Mid-State next week, if I'm not mistaken. August 19th, the Big Orange kickoff at the Franklin Theater. It feels like that has become, Brent, the official start of football season.
Yeah, those guys wanted us to come back out and wanted me to bring the VolQuest guys with us. So Grant R. and Blount County is going to come with us, and he'll probably drive us all out there, and we'll talk Andy Griffith's show for 2.5 hours. Ramon, if you want to come over and ride with us, we can give you an education on some things throughout that trip. And then we'll be at the Franklin Theater, and looking forward to visiting with all the great ball fans there at that event. I was there last year with Mike. It's a lot of fun. So we'll be over and back for that one because we got to get back and get some practice work in and do some things on Wednesday morning. But we'll be there Tuesday evening, and we'll be working in the car on the way out there. That's Savion Hyder Day on Tuesday.
So I was going to ask you, what is that looking like? Nothing still, huh?
No, man, this is as old school school gets, man. I mean, he is – I think the last interview Savion Hyder did might have been last October with Matt Ray. I think that's the last time he may have been publicly quoted. He had made a decision, he and his family made a decision. They were not going to allow their recruitment to be tracked through media interviews and all those kinds of things. They know everybody was going to speculate, but they didn't want anybody to speculate based on intel they were getting from the family or his circle of people. They have been as silent as anybody has been. It's a little bit different than the Rouse kid, who was very silent. He did interviews and just kind of played Switzerland all the way through his interviews. He liked everywhere he'd been. Savion Hyder just doesn't talk to anybody. He goes out the back door when he leaves his official visit or unofficial visit. He just did not want to do any interviews. So I think anybody saying right now they know where he's going is a guess on their part, because I think it's pretty clear there's two final schools, but exactly which one it's going to be, I don't think we're going to know probably before the announcement. I'm not sure he's going to let schools know until right before he announces publicly where he's going.
Wow.
Good stuff. School. Yeah, absolutely right.
We don't get many of those anymore, but that was an old school deal.
Well, I may or may not be emceeing this event next Tuesday as well, Brent. So hopefully we've got some good news to talk about. I am.
Ooh, hey, Ramon, this could be dangerous.
It could be dangerous. I just thought about it too. We play on Monday night in middle school football. We usually play on Tuesday, but because Sumner County's getting new stadiums,
come on down.
I may have to go ahead and come on down. Yeah.
Oh, we'll just put you up on stage. I'll sit in the corner and not do anything. I like this. I'm just kidding. I'm looking forward to talking Tennessee with everybody. Everybody's starting to get excited as they should, and we'll be. Gosh, we'll be about 10 days away when that happens next week, so we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Great stuff. VolQuest's Brent Hubs joining us this morning on the show. Brent, pleasure as always, and we will see you next week.
Yes, indeed.
That sounds great, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Peace
out. All right, there he is. Brent Hubs of VolQuest at On 3 this morning. Ramon Foster, that's good news that you don't have middle school football on Tuesday.
I know. We play on Monday night, man, trying to get the kids ready for the NFL. I kid.
That's absolutely right. No, it's Grant R. in Blount County may or may not have reached out wanting our show to be involved. And so it sounds like maybe the show might be able to be involved.
That's what I'm talking about. I just thought about that, too. I got to fix my entire schedule next week. I'm so throwed off, man.
I'm with you. Yeah. It's that time of year, isn't it?
It is. We've cranked up officially, Will.
No doubt about it. Brent Hubs brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, a financial partner for every stage of life. As we wrap up hour number 2 coming up next. It feels weird because I'm looking at my clock and it says 8:42, and back home it's 7:42. I'm trying to be professional through all this, but failing. There's one player, Ramon, I think, who could use an extended run tonight in this Titans-Falcons game. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that coming up next. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, Friday morning, wrapping up the first half of the show. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. From Atlanta to Nashville, we got you covered this morning. Ramon, I think there's one player in this stadium down the road that could use a good bit of football tonight.
Will? Who you got to mind?
The second-round edge rusher who has played 11 games as an edge rusher in his football life. Yeah. I would love to see Femi Oladejo get a half.
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask for?
Nope, not even a little bit, Will. I think that should be standard this game, and to be quite honest with you, next game too. You're 100% spot on, although I have a different player in mind also.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I think with Femi, we noticed some of the one-on-one explosiveness. I think you can see the vision on what he can become. I think there is an expectation that learning curve and patience is important for him. The guy was an off-ball linebacker until the middle of last season at UCLA. I just think as much on-the-job training, Ramon, as he can get with full physicality going up against NFL tackles, albeit mostly backup ones, just really matters right now. I mean, every single rep. I don't know if preseason means more for anyone on this team other than maybe the quarterback, Cam Ward, than for Femi Oladejo, because he just hasn't played the position very much.
No doubt about it, man. And this team is lacking of a rusher too, somebody that can affect the pocket from the outside. I was listening a little bit of Buck Rising show with Lucas and Burt yesterday, and Buck was talking about strong sides of this team, and he mentioned interior defensive line and offensive line, the same as we've had also. And he was like, for you, the trenches. He was like, for you folks that are asking for an edge rusher, you don't have one. You know, Buck was doing that. Did I do it well right there? Well,
yeah, you sounded happy about it. So yeah, you sounded just like Buck.
I did it real good like Buck. But he was like, you don't have one. And I was just like, yeah, that's true. So you mentioned Femi Oladejo being the guy, as many reps, Will, as he can get, the more you can actually see if he's capable of it or if he'll actually have some effectiveness on the game. I think that is so spot on. A half this week and next week, man.
I do think it's hard to judge just how good he is or this pass rush is, considering they haven't had the full complements of Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat to the inside. Yeah. Because that is the plan, isn't it? The plan is to collapse the pocket, and the plan is for this pass rush to benefit from two of the best interior big men pass rushers that are in football today.
Yeah.
Like that's the plan. Can we get more out of less at edge because of how good we feel like we are up the middle? And without seeing T'Vondre Sweat with Jeffrey Simmons, it's hard to really get a glimpse of if that's going to work or not. Like, it's going to kind of be when the curtain goes up week 1 in Denver, we're going to start to find out whether or not that plan in the short term is the right one for immediate success.
No doubt about it, man. I think this defense, I'll say this, I know this defense has to play a bigger part than anything that the offense is doing this year. So it's
still going to lead the team.
It does have to. It has the most veterans on that side of the ball, Will, and understand the philosophies that Denard Wilson want. And real quick, I got a guy that I feel like that's in the same conversation as Femi Oladejo.
Who's that?
Kalel Mullings.
I think it's fair.
The misfortune of Tajay Spears has to make him raise his eyebrows a little bit more, has from the coaching staff got to put more pressure on him too. And the other part for Kalel is the same thing that Femi Oladejo is going through, Will. He switched to running back in 2022. This young man is 2 years of playing running back at the University of Michigan, right? So his reps, Will, his ability to be put under stress to see if he can pick up pass blitzes, if his ability to see if he can find the hole when he's got the ball in his hand at running back. Also, I'm in the same conversation with both of those two guys that can play a huge part for this team because, of course, you know what Julius Chestnut is, right? Or Mims himself, but the more draft picks that you can have in-house that you have drafted as homegrown guys, the better it is for your team to be able to set that culture. And that's why I'm saying for a guy like him, both Femi Oladejo and Kalel Mullings are both this week and next week whole half guys.
I think you're 100% right. 100% right. And especially considering Mullings is in a battle to be, even with Tajay Spears out there running back 3. With Julius Chestnut, who's not just going to roll over and hand that over to him.
Oh.
Mullings last week, 7 carries, 33 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. He led Michigan with 948 yards last season on 185 carries. 12 touchdowns to me, Ramon, is the significant part of Mullings. I think Khalil Mullings is your red zone guy.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of what happens these next couple of games, the next couple of weeks. So if that is the case, I want to see a bit more decisiveness and a bit more downhill running from him. Right. The way he's built, I imagine it's got to be a bit jarring as a guy that size to look over on the other side and see more guys your size in the NFL who can move like you can, or even maybe faster than you can, than you did in college. Like, Khalil Mullings could go around more guys in college football than what he can now. And on that 3rd and 2 run that set up the 4th down and short where Brendan Allen threw it out of the back of the end zone in Tampa, like, I want to see his shoulders get square.
Absolutely.
And go thud into somebody and get downhill and get tough yardage. Like, you don't need to sidestep around dudes and try to break one for 15 to 20 and score from the 20-yard line. Like, if it's 3rd and 2, man, your job is just to get down and get over that line, and let's live to fight another day.
Absolutely. And then the point of this game, too, especially if Atlanta's not going to be playing a good bulk of their starters, this should be a grind-out, run-the-ball type of game, and this should be Khalil Mullings' style when it comes down to what you're asking him to do, Will, up front. I mean, that's what Julius Chestnut is doing. Like, you much rather be your draft pick, and I hate that for Julius, but, like, you want to see if he can handle those things the same way as with Femi on the defensive side of it.
Coming up next, good piece last night at AtoZSports.com from our good friend Easton Freeze, defining culture for the Titans. What are the Tennessee Titans? How do you define what they want to be as a team, as an organization? Well, he got an on-the-record answer about what the Titans see their culture being behind the scenes. We'll tell you what they said coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Two Rivers Ford, and they want to tell you about Zero, man. That's right. Zero as in zero money down, zero payments for 90 days, and 0% financing for 48 months on most models. Oh, and zero on regularly scheduled maintenance because Two Rivers Ford is throwing in a 2-year complimentary maintenance plan. Yes, it's the Zero Summer Sales event happening right now at Two Rivers Ford. And at Two Rivers Ford, their salespeople, check me out on this. They don't work on commission, which means there's zero pressure when you are shopping for a new vehicle, man. And at Two Rivers Ford, you'll get zero surprises because they are honest and transparent all the time. They're A-plus members of the Better Business Bureau, and they've been family-owned and operated since 1983. What you see is always what you get from Two Rivers Ford, which is why Two Rivers Ford is the South's most trusted Ford dealer. So get to Two Rivers Ford on the Zero Summer Sales event today because the sale ends September 2nd. But make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you. It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, man. I'm here to tell you about my guys, man, my friends at Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, man. My guy Robbie Van Norman came by the house yesterday, the owner of Jewel Roofing, man, and we just spent some time talking about the ins and outs of what he does, man. I've told you guys before, he's local. He's in our community, lives in Hendersonville, man, but they don't just serve Sumner County. They serve all the way from Clarksville to Murfreesboro and have been doing that for over 25 years. They are family-owned and trusted right here in Middle Tennessee and are always going to sell you local, man. It's just how I roll. I'm not going to tell you something that I don't do. Man, Robbie was on top of my roof yesterday just checking out some of the small things I had going on, and he would just point out the little small stuff like, yeah, this, we wouldn't charge you for that. This is good. We talked about my ice jams at my house and the things that we can prevent that ice from getting behind, because y'all know during the wintertime, we get more ice than snow, I feel like. But either way, they have methods to make sure that those things don't get jammed up to where you have water leaking inside of your house. Again, Jewel Roofing and Exteriors is a company that you can trust. They've been standing out and building relationships and earning trust through referrals, never through high-end pressure tactics or door knocking. For a roofer you can trust, man, call the number. Put it in your phone right now, 615-868-9999, or visit jewelroofing.com. That's Jewel Roofing with 2 L's.com.
It is 8:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. It's Tennessee Titans game day. The Titans are in Atlanta as they take on the Falcons with kickoff set for 6 p.m. Central for preseason game number 2. 3HL this afternoon has you covered with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff before Titans radio coverage takes over for pregame at 5 right here on 104.5 The Zone. Quarterback Cam Ward and the rest of the Titans starters are expected to play the first 2 series tonight. Meanwhile, the Falcons are going to be resting most of their starters. Outside of the Titans versus Falcons, there's just one other preseason game tonight. It's the Kansas City Chiefs as they take on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle with a 9 p.m. Central kickoff on NFL Network. Seattle head coach Mike McDonald confirmed this week that the Seahawks will play their starters for a portion of tonight's game, including quarterback Sam Darnold and wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Some things to watch for this weekend's NFL preseason games. Los Angeles Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh confirmed that quarterback Justin Herbert will see some action in the game tomorrow night against the Rams. Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders will miss tomorrow afternoon's game with an oblique injury, and fellow rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon is expected to make the start and make his NFL debut. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show and hour 3 off and running. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. I kind of feel bad, Ramon, sometimes when I host these shows in hotels because, I wonder if I woke anyone up this morning.
Man, you know what I say, Will? Man, every responsible adult I know is up no later than 6:30. So if you sleeping and slumbering around right now, even if it is your day off, on my days off, I'm still up by like 6:45. So that ain't a you problem. I'm gonna be honest with you. That is a them problem if they're not up by 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Fair enough.
Is that cool?
Fair enough.
Does that make you feel better?
It's very cool. That does make me feel a little bit better. So we welcome the listening audience in Nashville, the streaming audience on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, and we welcome those of you who are within the sound of my voice at a hotel in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Hello, everyone.
I mean, it's probably the best show they've heard down there in ages, so you might as well continue to give them the good news, Will.
I don't know, though. The Braves just clinched the season series over the Mets last night, so maybe they've got some good Braves talk to listen to this morning. I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny if the worst team in the last decade of Braves baseball has clinched the season series of the Mets. Actually, I can confirm that, yes. The worst team in the last 10 years of Braves baseball is still better than one of the best Mets teams in recent memory. I digress. The Titans defining culture, Ramon Foster, is an intriguing conversation. As a team that is in flux, that is in a rebuild, that is in a lot of change at the moment, is trying to establish who they are. Easton Freeze wrote a good piece at AtoZSports.com about this, about how the Titans define culture. He writes, I don't mean any one individual, I mean the organization. He says, the Titans were kind enough to tell me. Turns out they know exactly what they think culture means. Here it is to the letter. Quotes, specific conditions that encourage growth, authentic commitment to our mission, our team, our teammates, over the commitment to ourselves, it reads. Culture is how we work together for a common goal and how we treat each other, the Titans culture statement says. And there is a quote from Steve Kerr, head coach of the Golden State Warriors. Culture is way more important than scheme. Coaching is 20 to 30% strategy. Everything else is about communication and what your players feel every day when they come into the building. What culture means to me is what the players feel when they enter the building every day. What do they experience? What's the vibe of the building? What that is, that's the culture. That is the Tennessee Titans culture statement to Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports. Do you feel like that is a fair place to start, Ramon? Do you feel like that is a good foundation for what this franchise is hoping to build?
I'm going to be honest with you, yes. I think they're 100% correct in everything that they said right there. The mission, they didn't tell us that, but their team and their teammates, and over the commitment to yourself. I think that is the biggest part that has to be acknowledged in what they said. Like, when you mention culture, you talk to teams that have that and have won big or have streaks of winning or that have a foundation. The players somewhat get minimized in what the main goal is. And I feel like, and I say this with a lot of respect, right, because I know there's good times that have happened. But I felt like when you spoke about the culture in the Vrabel era, it was either just Derek or it was Vrabel or it was just Jeff. It never was. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Will, because I see it different sometimes than others do. But I feel like it was never about the team. And I think that's why, like, a lot of this fan base love what Mike Vrabel was, because he helped set what you wanted to be identified as. And the good teams are identified by what's inside of the locker room more than just one or two people. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense to you?
It makes sense. I mean, I think the Titans' identity under Mike Vrabel was Derrick Henry and defense.
Derrick Henry and defense. And it's a lot bigger than that, though, right? Because once Derrick Henry removes himself, then what's sustainable at that point? I think having a culture in place is exactly. I think having a culture in place, man, is, well, if player X that you know and you love leaves, well, you trust the culture that they're going to go find another one, and there will be replacements for that void until that position is filled. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what to me a culture is. Like, I'll bring this up real quick just to correlate it, but like in my time there, when those like greats in front of the guys that I play with left, like you had another guy in place that you knew was going to fill that role. And I think that's what they're looking for, is the replacement of players that are sustainable because the culture is set. And that is a beautiful place to be at, to where you don't have to worry next year, oh, Lord, what are we going to do? Like, I'm looking at a guy right now that's having a contract dispute in Pittsburgh with Cam Hayward, and they already got 3 guys that are going to end up being his replacement because the culture of what they expect at that position is already set. They got Keanu Benton. Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black already set in his position. And that's where you want to be as a franchise, so you're not beholden to guys giving you ultimatums about a contract. You're not beholden to guys who say, well, if they get suspended, you still continue moving forward because the culture is set. My second year, Ben got suspended. Roethlisberger got suspended. And I think we end up going 3-1 because the culture of the expectation that the team has uplifted everybody around those situations right there. And that's what you're looking for when you mention culture.
I like it. And to me, Ramon, you have as good of a perspective on this as anyone, considering the organization you played for. I mean, let's be honest. And as you just mentioned, culture to me for this team is about what you do more so than what you say.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, the Titans' inconsistencies and youth and inexperience has been the storyline of camp more so than kind of the good stuff you put on paper or you put on a poster board up on the wall. Now, that's to be expected.
Right.
I don't think it's a major concern that this team has had some good days mixed with some really bad ones, but that's just life in the NFL and training camp, and especially for a young team with a lot of young guys. Where I think this is meaningful, Ramon, is that the Titans going about adding the right kind of veterans. And what I mean by that is veterans who give a crap. Veterans who are willing to explain to young guys around them why they are doing what they are doing. The process of Kevin Zeitler at right guard, understanding that, hey, it's part of my job to help show Jackson Slater how to be a successful guard in this league. It's part of my job to bring along J.C. Latham next to me to be a pro at right tackle for a long time. This was a conversation, Ramon. Remember when Will Levis and Malik Willis were here? And Ryan Tannehill made the point of, well, it's not my job to mentor the younger guy. And that got blown out of proportion, but just for the sake of conversation. He wasn't wrong at that time. That Ryan Tannehill's job when he was the starting quarterback of the Titans was to win football games for the Tennessee Titans. I think this team has been built in a way where the veterans understand Tyler Lockett, Quandre Diggs, Kevin Zeitler, Cody Barton. You ask any of the young guys about the older players playing with them, and they'll rave about how much influence and how much structure and how much leadership those guys are willing to show. I talked to Cedric Gray post-game. I mentioned it a couple times this week about how Cody Barton has kind of almost been like another linebacker coach for them. And he's just like, oh my gosh, like Cody's been so helpful. Like, that's not totally normal, is it, Ramon?
No,
to bring
it's
in
not.
Veterans who are willing to be teachers, to be mentors, to put the good of the team over the good of just themselves, especially when you talk about guys that are signing one-year contracts, that are signing two-year deals. Like, there's an expectation that Kevin Zeitler and Tyler Lockett will not be Titans for very long, but that is not precluding them from being mentors and being resources to the young guys that they're playing with.
Yeah.
That's the culture of what the Titans are right now.
Absolutely, Will. And to your point, like not being afraid of helping others that's going to help you win. Because to your point, like players they get protective of their spots. They get protective of their information. They get protective of thinking that the guy behind me can take my job. But to your point, when you got a real culture in place, you don't have a problem with assisting the young guys, man. If y'all hadn't checked out this article from Easton Freeze on A to Z, it's a really good write-up, man. Because he asked the question, too, how we measure culture as spectators. And real quick, Will I give a quick excerpt, and I ask everybody to go check it out after the fact. I tweeted it out, and I think you did too. But he goes, ready for anticlimactic take on this wrap-up. He said, culture, and I think this is the part of it all. He said, culture doesn't reveal itself until stars emerge. And to your point, Will, about having Cody Barton feed into young guys like Cedric Gray, who's now ran with the ones this week.
Yep.
Like, this helps. And he goes a little bit further. It's like, this prediction isn't at all hard. It's Cam Ward.
Yeah, 100%.
It is. But he continues to say, like, but this, you can't really prove this because there's so many young careers in key positions until things kick off in September. We can't get this answer, Will, for what this culture is going to look like until the ball kicks off in Denver. You know what I'm saying? Because it is so young and it's so new.
I agree. Zach Lyons of the F&M Bank chat on YouTube adds Ridley being a resource to Cam and the wide receivers is another example. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. You're seeing a different version of Calvin Ridley this year, Ramon.
Yeah, you are.
You're seeing a much more engaged version of Calvin Ridley. You're seeing how could he not be? He's getting the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like that's what receivers want, and that's not a, that's not a slight to Calvin. That's more of a slight to Will Levis, who didn't get him the ball. I mean, Cam Ward has walked in and understood, like, nah, that's my guy.
That's the dude.
I'm his sidekick. Like, that, not vice versa, not the other way. So, I think that is where the culture of this team is in a solid place. Again, I don't know if that manifests itself in wins and losses. You could have the best culture, Ramon, in the world. But if you have a team of 8th graders, and I'm not saying this team is 8th graders.
Hey, I coach them.
Well, that's true. Your 8th graders, I'll make an example for you personally. You could have the best culture ever on your 8th grade football team, but if you're playing seniors down the road at Beach,
yeah,
it's going to be tough, right? Like, I'm not saying the gap between the Titans and everyone else is 8th graders to high school. I'm not trying to make that analogy. I'm just making an example of, like, right, like you can all love each other and be happy and work together, but you can still lose.
You can.
So I don't think that means there's going to be immediate results because the culture is so good. But I do think, Ramon, it is the first step in a very long process in getting this team back to where they want to be and constructing something new. And that's where I think there is value in what Easton wrote about and what the Titans see as their vision moving forward.
And real quick, I think you mentioned the wins and loss side of this thing too. That's why I do believe that Cali survives. We got Aditi Kinkhabwala coming on next, and I want to ask her, to be quite honest with you, how has Stefanski survived in Cleveland?
Great point. Well, let's do that coming up. Aditi Kinkhabwala of CBS Sports of Cleveland Browns preseason television broadcasts. We want to talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders. I know Titans fans cringe when they get more Shedeur than Cam, but Aditi also knows Cam quite well as well and has interviewed him throughout the draft process. So we'll get her thoughts on expectations for him, on Brian Callahan, on a number of topics. Who knows where Aditi will take us coming up next.
Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken. They know a thing or two about hot, so they are bringing you the hottest moments of the week from Ramon and Will. This is a segment I like to call Prince's Hot Mic.
When he says wham block, explain to people, if you will, what that means.
We had one of those last night in the middle school game. Kid. Okay, man, shout out to Garrett, man. Garrett had a hell of a block yesterday, man. And the ref, he cleaned him up so good, he put a flag on him, man.
Come on, Garrett. Attaboy.
Garrett, way to go, man.
Let's go, Garrett.
I'm still ticked off about that, but that's what it is, though, man.
Garrett for Pro Bowl.
Garrett, man. What the heck? Middle school Pro Bowl for Garrett, man. Yes.
Hot mics and hot chicken. Prince's knows hot. Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken.
Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. With Ramon Foster in Nashville, I'm Will Bowling in Atlanta this morning, ahead of Titans and Falcons, as we are pleased to be joined by our very good friend, Aditi Kinkhabwala of CBS Sports, on the sideline as well for Cleveland Browns preseason television coverage. Aditi, there are not many guests we introduce as very good friends. We have a lot of good friends. There's friends of the show. There are very good friends of the show. We consider you that. What's going on? Good morning.
Really good friends of very good friends of the show, not your very good friend?
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Yes,
yeah,
it's
for sure.
all in the same context, Aditi. What are we
It's the
talking
same thing.
about?
That's how it goes. I'm a little frisky this morning, clearly.
Yes, you are. But we love that when you're like this.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
You know, so I've been on the road a lot, and my husband, I'm in Philadelphia right now, and my husband very kindly said, you know what, I'll bring the kids into Philly so you can see them and we can hang out, and it's been a long time. So they come into Philly, and yesterday I have Browns-Eagles joint practice, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go to the shore. He brings the kids allegedly to hang out with me, only then he takes them to the beach while I go stand in joint practice, which was, so I guess this is why I'm feeling that way. And they all just ditched me to go to Dunkin' Donuts while I'm in the hotel room. So I'm feeling a little needy, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I love it. Well, our very good friend, Aditi Kinkhabwala of the show and just of us as people with us this morning here on the program.
Perfect.
I love it. Aditi, when you look at Shedeur Sanders and what he did last week, I know we'll get to Cam Ward. I know Titans fans or some of us like rolling their eyes as I just mentioned Shedeur. There's like, oh, we're so slept on. Nobody's talking about Cam Ward. So I promised to the people we will talk about Cam and the Titans. But what was that like, seeing Shedeur's debut, getting to speak with him on the sideline, and just the event that was the Shedeur Sanders episode 1 in the National Football League?
I say this, and this is not to diminish Shedeur in any way, but I wish people would slow their roll a little bit, because it's not fair to put these outsized expectations on these young men. So Shedeur did a tremendous job under a glaring spotlight with exactly what was asked of him. His demeanor was tremendous. His poise was really good. He was locked in during the game in a way that clearly showed he was focused on the task at hand. But I think we should also recognize that he executed exactly what was asked of him, which at the end of the day wasn't an enormous amount. And what I mean by that is that the Browns coaches really wanted him to succeed and set him up to succeed. And so they ran essentially basic offense. It was a lot of run game. It was a lot of play action. It was not a lot of movements or motion or pre-snap stuff like that. He did not face a lot of super complicated defense where it was diagnosing a ton of coverages. He threw the ball well. He settled in as the game went on. He showed how accurate a passer he is. But he still needs to grow. He still needs to develop. And this is a staff that is doing a really, really good job of not putting too much on his plate at any one moment. And when the country goes crazy and says, oh my gosh, this kid should start week 1, again, let's bite off little chunks. Let's chew and swallow those chunks and then move on to the next bite. So it was fun. It was exciting. He's got tremendous charm. It was really cool to see all those fans out there. But let's also recognize what the moment was for what the moment was. Does that make sense? Ramon, are you feeling me on this?
Listen, Will and I both are thinking the same car with you on this. So real quick, I guess if you minimize what he did, there is that same crowd that's want him to take that lead and be the guy that chastise you for saying, well, he was going against backups. How do you, who's covering this team, Aditi, view both sides of the Shedeur run that he's on right now, just not coming into this league?
You know, it's funny because during the regular season, people like to diminish a win. Well, oh, that was against a lousy team, or oh, that was whatever. A win is a win, okay? So yes, it was against backups. Yes, it was with backups. But you know what? Everybody right now is fighting for a position in the National Football League. When you're you're fighting for a spot, you're fighting for a starting spot, you're fighting for a role on this roster, whatever it is. So at the end of the day, you play who you play. And there were things that you have to do. It's so dicey. It's funny. I was talking to a former colleague of mine who's now the Browns radio announcer, Andrew Siciliano, yesterday. And he said in his entire career, he can't remember a fervor about a player like this other than Tim Tebow. Wow. And it feels like you can't logically talk about someone without being accused of bringing him down, and that's not what I'm doing here at all, okay? I'm not at all denigrating or diminishing anything about Shedeur Sanders. If anything, I feel a little protective. Let's not put too much on him just yet. Let's keep watching him take these steps and grow and develop. And when he's ready, he will be ready, and it will be really, really obvious. And yes, he did some really good things, but it's hard. I think that there are certain players that capture the heart, the emotion of fans, and it's sort of like they don't want to hear anything that runs counter to what their hearts tell them they want to see. Is that fair? I don't know if I'm explaining that well. And it's different. You know, this isn't Joe Burrow. This isn't the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
So
not Cam Ward.
And there's a reason for that. Yes, like Cam Ward, who, yes, is the most not talked about number 1 quarterback that I can remember in my entire career of covering the National Football League. But I have to say, I don't think that that's a bad thing.
I think we are in total agreement on that. Thing. Right. So, Aditi,
if the spotlight... Yeah, if the spotlight is on Abdul Carter, if the spotlight is on some other players, is that really a bad thing?
Right. Totally agree. And I feel like, Aditi, when you look at Cam and you look at the reset that's happening here with this team, there was a picture of Cam Ward at Falcons-Titans joint practices the other day of him with everyone on a knee lecturing to the whole team, like already within a couple of weeks. You've been around him through the draft process, like, put in perspective for people, if you will, just how he's wired a little bit differently. Like, he's kind of a throwback personality, isn't he? Between the wired headphones he's still got as he's walking into every stadium that he got from his grandmother to just everything about the guy. There is a little bit different and unique about him in a good way that is good for where this organization is right now.
Oh, 100%. And I think that leadership, it's funny, I was just having this conversation with a general manager in the NFL about analytics and how analytics can tell you something, but analytics should be a tool. They shouldn't be the be-all, end-all, and how personality matters and how personality fits in your locker room, how character in some places it's a big puzzle is the point of what I'm saying here. And for where the Titans are right now and for what the Titans are looking to develop and where they need to grow, having a personality, an old soul like Cam Ward's, having the leadership that he offers already is very, very necessary. It's different than, let's say, a team that's laden with veterans and has a strong personality on, for example, defense that can have sort of acquired or quarterback or a quarterback who doesn't come to leadership so naturally. But the Titans right now, they need a guy like this. And it's wonderful that they found him. And I'm so excited to see what Brian Callahan does with him.
Yeah, I think we all are, Aditi, just to see if the reset, and we had a conversation. A good friend here, Easton Freeze, wrote an article talking about the Titans culture. He got an answer. Actually, I just retweeted if you want to check it out too, Aditi, at some point, about what the Titans, the actual franchise, see or what their definition of culture is. And Aditi, I have to ask you, because you've been in Cleveland, you've been in the AFC North, and you've watched these coaches in the AFC North, Zach Taylor, and namely Stefanski, right? Kevin Stefanski. Aditi, I have to ask you, with the season that they had last year, were they 3-14? I know he's two-time Coach of the Year, but you know how Cleveland's always had this back and forth of like, well, fire coach after 5 years. Well, he survived. Aditi, how has Stefanski survived Cleveland? With everything that they've had with Deshaun, with Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, and he survived the 3-14 record. How, Aditi, is that? Because you look at Coach Brian Callahan, and I think it's very similar to what this pathway of creating a culture and just changing a franchise around. What has he done up there to sustain his job?
Well, he's a two-time Coach of the Year. He is a great coach. He's a great human. He truly is a good person. And there have been a lot of challenges along the way. Mm-hmm. Last year, having to change the offense, not of his choice. And now this year, they're coming back to the offense that he runs, the way that he runs it. He is once again calling it. Everything starting with the run game, the Deshaun Watson thing, his first year was the COVID year. There's reason to have patience with him for sure. Mm-hmm. And I was at the Ravens this week, and the way that the Ravens practice, the intensity with which they do things, the focus, the discipline, they get their work done. Yeah. And they have veteran guys like Mark Andrews that still go so hard. And you look at them and you think about stability. Their general manager, Eric DaCosta, has been there 30 years. Wow. Their head coach, John Harbaugh, has been there how long? Almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. And Harbaugh has grown and evolved. I'll give you an example. Kyle Hamilton, who is their superstar safety, he's dealing with a little something. It's not that serious. If it were week 1, he would certainly be playing. But it was a 90-degree day with 70% humidity, and John Harbaugh is now not pushing guys like that. He wants them to be healthy for the season. He's giving them days. He trusts them. But you can do so much of that because of the stability, the culture that's set, because you know what sort of guys you want in your building. That's a process. And it's so hard. How can you expect a coach? A year ago, Brian Callahan didn't have really great players. He didn't have, that's not a fair way to say it. He didn't have a full roster, a full complement of really great players. Sure, there were isolated good players. I don't mean to, again, denigrate or diminish any of them, but it wasn't a whole roster of them. Mm-hmm. And so you sort of have to give him time. I'm reminded of Sean Payton. It took him a full year to basically turn over the roster for his kind of guys. And by his kind of guys, Sean Payton is of the old school. He wants to work his players hard. He wants to practice hard. He expects a level of discipline. And Sean Payton, when he first took over in Denver, had some veterans who weren't interested in working that way. It takes a while to get the guys that you want. And you've got to give, especially a new coach, I think, a chance to set that culture. I think it's unreasonable to expect someone to come in and win right away unless this is like Mike Tomlin getting a ready-made roster. Then you can say, okay, you've got this great roster that has a tremendous upper-tier quarterback and has a ton of great veterans and a wonderful defense, and you're inheriting a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. Yes, then we have high expectations of you immediately. But if you need to build a roster, if you need to reset a culture, if you're starting again, how do you say, okay, go ahead and win in year 1? Right. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes DeMeco Ryans with a rookie quarterback can do some really good things. But again, every situation is different.
Yeah.
It's a great way to put it, and it's really well said. This is why Aditi Kinkhabwala is a very good friend of the show for insights like this, exactly. But it feels tricky, Aditi, because what Washington and Jayden Daniels did last year has probably put some unfair expectations on young quarterbacks, not just Cam Ward, on some rebuilds around the league where we love to do this in the NFL, don't we? Where we try to make something that just happened happen again. And like sometimes that one thing that happened is just a once in a decade thing, like Jayden Daniels in Washington exceeding expectations so much last year. And it's unfair to say, you know, the Titans are just going to do that because there are other varying degrees of success of this.
Well, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you just for a second. The same way that I'm begging you to have patience with a young man like Shedeur Sanders, Dan Quinn was a head coach before.
Right.
Dan Quinn spent a lot of time then not a lot of time, but Dan Quinn has been a defensive coordinator at quite a few organizations. Yep. Dan Quinn also did a whole bunch of soul searching after he lost his first head coaching job, spending time with people to learn how he could be a better leader, how he could do it better the second time around. Brian Callahan is still at his first go. This is still, and again, it's not fair to say, okay, a guy who's in his second head coaching experience, who has had the opportunity to learn from the first one, who is not fixing things on the fly, but has actually stepped back to change his ways or change his approach. It's just not an apples to apples comparison.
Totally.
So this is the way that you should have patience for a young player, for a 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, then also recognize that a brand new head coach has to learn how to head coach too.
Right.
It's a great point. You're preaching. You're preaching, Aditi, this morning. I love it. Well, so I will hopefully see you. Ramon's big time with the Vol Network. He's going east every weekend now. So, Aditi, I'm on the sidelines with Titans Radio some this year. So I will hopefully see you very soon this year.
Thank you. I just heard that. Yes, congratulations. And I'm sure we do get Titans games a lot. Our crew does get the AFC South a lot. So I'm sure somewhere along the way I'll see you.
Will is also very knowledgeable. Anything you need to ask him, Aditi, he's got an answer for. I don't mean to put pressure on him, but whatever you need, he's there. I promise.
I've been watching Aditi Kinkhabwala tape to get ready, so anything you need, I got you.
Please. Now that I know that we are very, very good friends, I will take you up on that.
I love it. Aditi Kinkhabwala, our guest, CBS Sports, Cleveland Browns preseason TV. Great stuff as always. Aditi, thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, Aditi.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Go enjoy the beach.
That's right. I love it. Aditi Kinkhabwala with us. That is exactly right on Brian Callahan to me and on building a culture, Ramon. I struggle with having culture conversations because I think that's such an abstract thing that's hard to measure. You have such a good perspective on it, having been in the league for 11 years. I think Aditi, for the time she spent in the NFL, has a great perspective on like what does that look like every day. The Sean Payton example is a great one on like a coach needs time to get his kind of guys. A GM needs time to get their kind of guys in so they can practice the way they want to, prep the way they want to. Like the tangible everyday going to work, I think matters within that. So
her mentioning
good answer.
Sean Payton also been in a position where he needed guys that wanted to work hard. Like that's why I point to that Tuesday practice that the Titans had with the Falcons. Like look at the tape and figure out the ones that you knew didn't give their all on that day. Like you're going to have them this year, but you can find the ones, Will, that just they needed to have a battery put in their back to go. Like, no, you shouldn't have to ask for that with what this franchise is right now.
Coming up as we wrap up hour number 3, a network made a very unpopular decision in college sports this week. We'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls, and the website is just that, man, medicalhousecalls.com. 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So you can also just get an IV before the game starts, man, if you set that up on Sundays during the season. If you had an all-nighter on Saturday or something like that, I'm just telling you, same-day appointments are available, next day guaranteed. Listen, they do all sorts of things, primary health care, urgent care, IV therapy, medical weight loss. They can assist you in all type of ways. And again, the reason they're here is because At most times, you don't want to go into the ER and just waiting for people in those germ-filled rooms where you can have the concierge of having somebody come to your house. From sicknesses to infections to injuries, you can also get in-home labs done, testing, and so much more for a flat fee. You can get an evaluation, full exam, treatment plan, and prescription if you also need them. Also, this part, which is what I'm sure you're worried about, transparent pricing that is upfront and not confusing. You can use your HSA and FSA cards just like any other doctor's appointment. Again, I'm telling you, if you're feeling fatigued, there's an IV therapy they'll have provided for you, or just simply the primary care. Website is medicalhousecalls.com. And if you want to call or text them, the number is 615-838-2375.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Ramon Foster in Nashville, myself, Will Bowling in Atlanta. Reset the headlines for you and talk a little bit more Titans with you coming up in hour number 4. But, Ramon, I got bad news.
What's that?
Don't hold your breath on college football red zone.
It's not going to happen?
Not going to happen. Fans hoping for this got some bad news yesterday. So, of course, Roger Goodell let the cat out of the bag that ESPN has the rights to the name Red Zone and to creating a red zone for other programming on ESPN as part of ESPN's new deal with NFL and NFL Network. So NFL's media rights are pretty consolidated. College football's not so much. Apparently, according to Front Office Sports, Fox is not down to allow ESPN to show their games. Says Fox Sports could be a significant hurdle in the race to produce a college red zone. Fox carries Big Noon Game of the Week of the Big Ten, as well as other conference offerings, of course, for the Big Ten and the Big 12. Front Office Sports reports that Fox is unlikely to license its Big Ten or Big 12 games to ESPN for fear of cannibalizing its own viewership.
I can see that. Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. And again, this is a power struggle with these networks, man, and how they go about presenting their product. It would have been nice. I feel like Roger Goodell is probably feeling like he could be the guy to help bridge this together, but what's the split, Will, on the money? What's the split on ads? Like, that's what you're paying for, right? That's what you're trying to figure out if you're trying to consolidate all of these college games on these networks that are, Fox has this, CBS has this, ESPN has another one, and the CW got other ones too. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm getting at is
Pac-12 erasure is crazy from you.
All right, I'm gonna grow up.
Cam Ward played in the Pac-12, right?
Yeah, I do know that for a quick spell. But again,
R.I.P.
What I'm saying is they've put so much emphasis on the money and the ownership of how they view and package these things up that Roger just stepped in it. That's all it was. He was excited. He get like us sometimes we get information. He was excited.
He's so powerful he can step in things and not feel the consequences of them.
And he's not at all.
Yeah, to his point, the NFL's not battling with the NBA or MLB. They're battling Microsoft and Google and Amazon.
That's what he said.
Which is a flex, but he's also not wrong. Eric on YouTube says, they had college football goal line. Why get rid of that? Well, that was only ESPN program.
Yep.
So the goal would be to have a college football red zone that takes every game from every network and puts it all in one place on ESPN. Mm-hmm. As coveted as these conference television deals are, Ramon, it opens Pandora's box to be able to, change the way the revenue is split to how does ESPN divvy up the revenue of red zone?
Right.
You're right. Like, does every team get like $1? I genuinely, that'd be $1, obviously, but those things are conference specific.
Right.
It would be like, imagine if the AFC South had a deal with Fox and the AFC North had a deal with CBS. That money matters, and it's not all the same. And it's the reason why we have the conference reaffiliation that we have is that the Big Ten and the SEC have the most TV money, so everybody wants to be a part of the Big Ten and the SEC. It's just, that's how these things work. It's a very convoluted way to run a sport, but it is our sport, and we love it.
You know what, though? There was this thing back in the day, and you're involved in this, and I'm involved in this, too. I'm young enough, and you're old enough, Will. There was this thing back in the day. There was this box that you would, call this company, and they would, bring it to your house, and they have installers that, hook it up to your television. And you could do all these things in one place instead of having it be one network or the other. It was called cable. You remember that? You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. It was called cable.
But the point is, you take everything that's on cable, you put it only on ESPN.
Right. Yeah,
like the NFL Red Zone is taking Fox games and CBS games and putting them in one place.
For sure, and that was an agreement that was had because of the way it was once set up, and people like that.
It's the way NFL media rights work.
And I get it. There is a struggle to control TV and content and the money that come in, and I think that last part is the most important part: the money that comes in. Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said about how if they can, get to that point to consolidating college football like that.
Yeah.
Cable, imagine.
No doubt. Yeah, what a concept.
What a concept. Also, I got to
A
flex
concept.
real quick, too, because I see some people just questioning my vernacular on how I say people names. I'll mess up a name, but Aditi Kinkhabwala is one that I know, okay?
Oh, yeah. You and Didi go way back.
Yeah, that's the homie right there. I see y'all
Absolutely
talking
right.
about Ramon had to rehearse that 30 times. I did years ago, not anymore.
I felt bad when she was joking of like, are we very good friends? It's like, well, I thought so. What do you mean?
Yeah, she's a jokester at times, too, man.
Oh, very much
But
so.
Kinkhabwala is a name that is easy to say. Now, y'all say my name right. Say Ramon instead of Raymond.
Say my name.
Say my name.
I am the one who knocks.
Like out here like Destiny Child.
Walter White looking. Coming up, what Brent Hubs said about the Tennessee quarterback battle earlier this morning. If you missed it, if you were sleeping in, we got you. We'll play you what he had to say. Plus, what does success look like tonight for Cam Ward? What do you want to see from your quarterback as the Titans take on the Falcons? One more hour left of the morning and of the week. Next on 104.5 The Zone.
Who the hell are you?
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? I'll tell you. It's settling for less cash. That never happens, though, with Orchard. Disappointing offers, man, they can just wear you down to settle for thousands less, but you don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinventing the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home. On your timeline, no waiting, no showings, no double moves. And once you're all settled in Orchard, your Orchard agent helps you sell your home on the market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer had to say. I've never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been any easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Listen to me. Visit their website at orchard.com to get your free home valuation. Again, the website is orchard.com, and be sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
It is 9 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. A Tennessee Titans game day. The Titans are in Atlanta taking on the Atlanta Falcons with kickoff set for 6 p.m. Central. For preseason game number 2, 3HL this afternoon has you covered with Lee Company Countdown to kickoff before Titans radio coverage takes over for pregame at 5 o'clock right here on 104.5 The Zone. Quarterback Cam Ward and the rest of the Titans starters are expected to play the first 2 series tonight at least, while the Falcons are resting most of their starters. Outside of the Titans and Falcons, one other preseason game tonight on the slate. Kansas City Chiefs in Seattle taking on the Seahawks with a 9 o'clock Central kickoff on NFL Network. Seattle will play some of their starters for a portion of tonight's game, including quarterback Sam Darnold and wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Some other things to watch for in this weekend's NFL preseason games. Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert will see some action in their game tomorrow night against the Rams. And Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel is expected to start and make his NFL preseason debut. And Nashville SC looking to get back in the win column as they take on NYCFC Sunday at 4 o'clock Central Time at Geodis Park. Nashville currently sits third in the Eastern Conference table, 4 points out of the top spot, which is occupied by Philadelphia Union. Lucas Panzica and Eddie Carvacho have the call with pregame starting at 3:30, and you can, of course, hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. This is the Big Finish. And you can have a big finish to your week by going to get some pumpkin caramelicious coffee. Maybe even Ramon fostered the cheesecake bites yesterday. They hit the spot on the way down to Atlanta. Pumpkin cheesecake bites from Scooters Coffee. Elite.
Now that
I don't call many things elite. That's elite.
But this checks out, Will.
Absolutely checks out. The pumpkin caramel coffee, all of it. If you want a protein smoothie, if you want fall, if you're like Justin and you're being the equivalent of Scrooge with fall, then you can just have regular like vanilla and caramelicious. They got everything you need. Go by and see them. They're all around Middle Tennessee, and they're locally owned as well, Scooters Coffee. Those Middle Tennessee locations, Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ron Slay's going to stop by in just about 20 minutes.
Yay. Looking forward
Always
to
fun.
seeing them.
That's right.
Yeah, probably in rehab, trying to get himself together, man. You know what I'm saying? From time to time, Savage has got to do stuff right. You know, you got to go do the adult thing. He already sent a little run off to school this morning. Now it's time for a little rehab, I'm sure.
Trying to make me go to rehab, and I say yes. What do you want to see from Cam Ward tonight, Ramon? Preseason week 2, what does growth, what does success look like for you against the Atlanta Falcons?
Being good with the football. I'd much rather take an overthrow than one of those underthrows again where the ball, we won't ever, really give descriptions to interceptions and stuff like that. We just see them. You know what I'm saying? And whether it was tipped, we can say something about it, but it still counts. And I know interceptions are going to happen, but the avoidable ones where he's trying to force it into tight spots, I know it doesn't count right now, and he's got to test himself to see where he's going to be at. But the ones where he's had in practice to where he should have thrown it out of bounds, or you have a corner and zone dropping back, or safety coming over the top, those are the ones that he can't be tricked with. So I kind of want to see that portion of his game take another step. Well, again, sometimes you just get got. But if he can somewhat make a step in the right direction for that, I think it'll be a very successful night for him if Coach Callahan and his crew have him out there for a long spell.
Decisiveness, I think, is important for Cam and important for where he is at this point of his maturation. I remember writing that down, watching Cam Ward film in March. I still have actually pulled it up on my March 11th notes page on my laptop, saying good things happen when he is decisive. Says does well when he doesn't dance around and just makes a decision. That to me is the number one objective for Cam. It's playing within structure, but it's also taking the right risks. It feels to me, Ramon, like Cam is taking a lot of calculated risks, and rightfully so. That's what this time of year is for. in throwing over the middle. And that is an area where I think this team could modernize its offense a little bit, is utilizing more RPOs than we've seen the Titans use, and reading the feet of the middle linebacker to say, if that guy comes in to try to stop the run, I'm pulling it and I'm sidearming it right around him straight to Tyler Lockett or straight to Chimere Dike. He's gotten in trouble on some of those because he's going up against NFL linebackers now and not Duke and Virginia Tech and Cal, respectfully. Yeah. But that is a part of the process, learning what he can get away with. I want to start seeing the growth, though, in taking the right kind of risks and beyond anything. Just get out of this healthy. Just protect yourself at this point.
And I guess the latter part of his game, too, which is what we said earlier, the first series, if you're going to roll out, know where you – my iPad picking up me saying series right there. But if he's rolling out, have a plan for it. These guys in Atlanta is going to have a fast defense. Their own turf and everything will, too. They're going to have a defense that want to get after him. Nobody wants to do more to the first-round quarterback than an opposing defense. So if he does choose to get out of the pocket, one, make sure you have to get out if you are getting outside of it, and have a plan for it, too, to either throw the football away or see where your guy's going to be able to create with you in that middle of the field stuff, the kind of the way you see with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Those guys been very quarterback friendly, and again, don't get tricked by a lurking linebacker or safety that can potentially pick you off. He has some dynamic parts of his game when it comes down to what we've seen from him in college. You want to kind of see that be elevated if he is moving outside of the pocket and not trusting the guys up the middle, or if he get flushed out. I like when guys are very adamant about their approach, Will, to being good down the field, to where we use that old term, man, like backyard football. It can be exciting. It can also clip you too, man. So I kind of want to see that if he is going to roll out of the pocket from time to time.
Does that mean we need to see front yard football?
Front yard football is doing what the coach tell you to do. Okay, well, mom and daddy is watching.
I want to see a little less backyard football. I want to see a little more front yard football.
And I think that's also, Will, to your point, what Coach Callahan is driving home. And Bo Hardigree and Nick Holtz, they're driving that part of it home. Remember the first parts of training camp and OTAs, they weren't allowing him to do much except, the drop-offs. Stand in the pocket and having the ball goes where it goes. The backyard side of it, to your point, I think that's just natural to him.
Mm-hmm. I do too. I want to see him take steps in the structure and the way the offense is kind of formatted beyond the extra stuff. A comment in the F and Bake chat on YouTube, one commenter says, really can't evaluate the offense playing against twos.
Yeah, you can.
How do you feel about that?
You always can. If it's twos versus twos or ones versus the twos, what I would say is this. The evaluation is that you're supposed to dominate the twos. When the backups are in and your first team offense is out there, that's when you capitalize and strike against those guys. They're an evaluation to be had. Do you ask Cam in those moments to, hey, do more complex things with the football? Is it more than just, hey, handing the football off if the twos are in? There is an evaluation to be had. I guarantee you guys this, if you see Jalen Walker or James Pierce Jr. get a sack against your starting tackles, you will judge them then. There is an evaluation in that, correct, Will? It's that 100%. Side of it, too. So there's ones versus twos. There's a fine line between being a starter and being a guy that's coming off the bench. And what you want from your guys that are starters with those guys trying to chomp at the bit at their coaching staff to show how good they are is to dominate them. Rookie, like a vet versus a rookie, there is an evaluation in that. Cam versus dudes that are going to play for that Atlanta Falcons defense that are out there, have been in the league for a good bit. You want to see him take a step against those guys. I get what you're saying by saying the talent is lowered. But there's also an open book test that we've seen people that we've grown up with will fail them or make C's when you should be making A's. So there's that side of it.
100%. Totally agree. I'd like to see some of the younger receivers with Cam. To be honest with you, I think a drive of Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson sitting in favor of Bryce Oliver and Chimere Dike and Elekiah Manor, I think would benefit this team at this point, Ramon. And as we see more Alec and Cam together in practice, I want to see that translate to the field and for those guys to get good live reps, because there's two things at play there. First, I think by November, I'm not going to say all three of those guys are starters.
Right.
but I think that they are more in the rotation than they are now. I'd like to start that today. I'd like to start that now to try to get them really implemented and become heavy contributors. On the flip side, it's the reality of having receivers in their 30s.
Yeah.
Those hamstrings, those quads, the Achilles, the hits, I mean, all of it. Like, you can't count on all three of those guys staying 100% the entire season. And these skill guys and their soft tissue injuries, Ramon, you know it as well as anybody.
Yeah,
preparing for contingencies and preparing for those guys just working together. Like, is one preseason drive going to make or break Chimere DK and Elikai Manor knowing what it's like to play with Cam? No. Would I like to see that be the next step, though, in that maturation process and those two having chemistry? Absolutely, I would.
Yes, same. And we spoke a little bit about that earlier. Pull Calvin. I like to see Calvin run, block, stalk a little bit. But that's also something that Alec Ayumanor said he likes to do. So let's see him do those types of things in case Calvin needs a blow because he's gone all the way down the field to an incompletion. Like, you got to prepare in these moments for those scenarios throughout the season if what coaches have told us is what the preseason is all about. And I trust and believe that because we've been in those situations before. I know as coaches tell us we're only going to do one series, and then the next thing you know, you're doing three because they feel like being jerks to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, do those things, like mine screw them over from time to time to put those guys in those situations. Calvin only gets one play. Well, Alec, here's your time. Are you ready? These answers have to be asked because, as Aditi said, and we've said it a few times too, Will, there is this side of this team where you got to look at the talent distribution. It's thin, but it's there. So see who going to be the guys to step up.
I think on offense, that's the key, and on defense, just stop the run.
Yeah,
187 yards. Got a couple guys off the team last week. I mean, honestly, like they brought in two linebackers for a reason. Three linebackers. Khaleke Hudson, Blake Lynch, and Brian Asamoah are players because partly of what happened in Tampa.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to not stick around at that point. Brent Hubs was on the show early this morning. He's always going to stick around on this show. We talked about the quarterback battle, which is starting to become not really much of a battle. This was Brent Hubs talking about the timeline of Joey Aguilar officially becoming Tennessee's QB1.
Well, I mean, I think Josh Heupel's not going to announce anything today. He will visit with the media after the scrimmage. He's obviously, at that point, will not have seen the scrimmage tape. He's not going to make that announcement today. He meets with the media next Tuesday of next week. He could do it then. Or it would be game week. So maybe he does it on Tuesday if it's, clear cut and running with it. I think there'll be plenty of speculation over the weekend from a bunch of people about, Joey Aguilar being the guy, unless something crazy happens in the scrimmage this morning. I mean, there's still a competition going into this morning in the scrimmage that'll start in about 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, Joey's got to go play and do things the right way today. This is the last. I'm not saying the competition's over, but this is the last, put the ball down. Coaches are all on the sideline. We're going to play in the stadium in a bunch of different scenarios. And, we're going to turn the defense loose. How do you react? How do you play? This is really the last one of those because they move into mock game week starting next week. And then, that'll be scout team and more focus on an opponent and kind of what game weeks look like and get you ready for that. So I think it happens either Tuesday next week or Josh Heupel is going to wait and announce it on the Monday of game week. One of those 2 days would be the official date. I think there'll be plenty of stuff written about it between now and then, though.
That was Brent Hubs on the show earlier this morning. If you missed it, you can download the Ramon and Will podcast, wherever you download podcasts. Joey Aguilar is going to be Tennessee's quarterback, Ramon.
Yeah, he is.
There's no doubt at this point.
Had a great answer, though. You asked him earlier about George McIntyre, though, too. That was eye-opening in itself.
I think it's reasonable, Ramon, to think that George might be QB2. Maybe not week 1.
Okay.
Like, God forbid if something happened to Joey against Syracuse. Like, is George going to go in over Jake? I don't know. Probably not. I think in terms of how they've played in camp and from reports and from rumblings and from things we hear, I think George McIntyre has been at least on the same level, if not better, than Jake Merklinger.
Right. To get to the question, though, too, of, naming the starter, the sooner the better.
Yeah. It'll be next week, I think.
Because here's the other part of it for me. It should be. You're right. I think Hubs in the War Room also said, check that out on VolQuest, was saying this next week is going to be the soft start of game prepping for Syracuse already, too. So
next week is like being in a bye week.
It is.
Going into a game the 2 Saturdays from then.
It is week 0 in college football, so some teams will be playing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Not Tennessee, but some teams, you're right.
Some teams. But the other side, too, Will, is get the emotional side out of the way. Like, being in a real competition and finding out, like, all right, well, I'm not the starter. Like, the emotional side of it's got to be done, too. So go ahead and get it over with.
Let's bring Ron Slay into this conversation, shall we? He will join us coming up next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk is shifting, your driveway is cracked and sinking, or your porch steps, maybe they've moved on you. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. It's also just a big eyesore. It's Ramon Foster, and whatever is going on with your concrete, hear me out. Call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after about 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing your concrete. Reach out to the company that I trust, man. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Friday morning continues at Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Ramon Foster in Nashville. Myself, Will Bowling, in Atlanta. Joined at this time every Friday by the person who, if he was a day of the week, would be a Friday. Ron Slay, 3HL, SEC Network, Vol for Life, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer. What's happening?
What's happening, man? What's that got going on, man? I heard y'all, you know what I mean, on the Hubs this morning. Y'all was getting to it. The activity was good. Let me tell y'all this, man. Let me go on and start by here. Hubs, this is a challenge. Since you like to be in the Garden of Eden or the Garden of Vol or the Garden of Hubs, whatever you in, listen, man, if you ain't bringing me no rutabagas up out of there, I don't trust you no real gardener, Hubs. How about that?
Yeah.
Since he passing messages along to me, Savage. Hubs, if you ain't bringing no real live rutabagas up out of there, don't talk to me about gardening. How about that?
You need some from the garden, is what you saying. Rutabagas.
Not some. I need rutabagas. That's what I need. Some smooth rutabagas up out of there. Yeah.
I know he listening, too. You know he going to have something for you. He got to have something for you, okay? That's what I'm telling you. I know it. I know him by now.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, listen, what I do know is this. I don't think he had ever heard you snuck away from Nashville last week to go play basketball when you weren't cleared, but you see he got that as ammo now.
Hey, man, I don't know who been talking to him. You know what I mean? But whoever giving up that type of information, man, they wrong for that now. You know what I mean? See, while I was sneaking away, I was creating, you know what I mean, an All-American SEC Player of the Year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ain't waiting on them to clear me. I'm clearing me. How about that?
That's what I'm talking about, Savage. That's what I'm talking about,
Hubs
man.
knows all, as we know.
Yeah, yes, he does.
Slay, do we want to start Vols or Titans today? Dealer's choice.
Man, I'm cool. I'm cool with either one, man. And we can go Titans, you know what I mean, since it's game day.
Titans.
You know, since you're in the ATL, Will, they said you went to the change one and got changed by 2-3 times. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say which establishment, but how was the Lou Pepper wings? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you know me.
He had to go get some extra ones.
No.
They said he went to the women 2 or 3 times, Savage. I don't know. I do know the documentary is coming out on Stars tonight.
Who's
Shout out to
they?
Magic City. Oh, man, I've never known who they is.
I'd love to meet they.
They always keep saying it, though. That's all I know.
They,
man.
That's right.
They play with the Titans, I guess. I don't know. What we got, man?
All right. Well, Cam Ward's going to play a second preseason game tonight as he goes with his own ones to the field, the starters. There we go. Against the Atlanta Falcons. Slay, what do you want to see from Cam tonight?
Man, I want to see him building. Just continue to build on the positivity. And anytime you get, you know, in game-like atmospheres or moments and the negative happens, how do you bounce back from it? I thought that's always been what I've been looking to see since we've been able to watch him. We know he has the it. Savage talked about it on our show. Him having the it, him having the balance, him having the accountability, the leadership, all of those values, but you never get to see what the bounce back is like until adversity hits. So if there's some adversity hits like he did last game, you know, you almost threw a pick, might have been a bad read, might have thought something was going to be there, whatever it was, you bounce back from that. So that's what I'm looking forward to see when things are not going right, and they won't throughout the season, that we can get a glimpse in what that bounce back looks like. Not hoping that something crazy happens like a pick six or nothing, but, you know, coverage is blown, you got to get rid of it, just his reaction to things. And we know he's even keel, but it's nothing like seeing it in game atmosphere around his teammates. I know they've seen it, but us as fans, we haven't really been privy to it yet. So that's something I would love to see, man. And then, of course, the connection with other guys. We know what he got with Calvin Ridley. I thought that's what going into last year. We were really waiting to see if we wanted the guys to extend those plays as far as the series for the one, because we didn't know what the connection with Will Levis was like. So we kept on waiting to see, like, all right, man, let him play like 4 or 5 series, and then we're trying to get the offensive line with the tackle. I think everybody's coming along as they should, gradually. leading into the season opener. So, I mean, you just want to see the connections. I want to I heard y'all talking about DK. I'd like to see Lockett a little bit more, even though I know he's like a safety blanket anyway. But I would love to also see a couple of little dump downs to the running backs. And let's see what they do in space, especially with this challenge of, if Tajay's not going to be there, what you going to get from Mullings and Chestnut. I think it'll be a great opportunity for them to get behind the line and run. I'm really high on Mullings. You know what I mean? I think he's a guy that runs behind his pads. He's got the size that you need that gives you offsetting of what Pollard and Tajay Spears do. And also, like I said yesterday, I think we missed out on Hassan Haskins of what he could bring to the team, especially special teams as well. So overall, I kind of ran through everything. But you asked for Cam Boyd, I want to see what his bounce back is like.
Savage, when you peep this team out, man, and the necessary guys that got to play their role, you were six-man coming out at UT, man, and sometimes you find your way into those starting roles because you show, and that's what you did over your career, over the course of your career, man. For a guy like Cedric Gray, they're always been evaluated. How cool is it to see a guy, man, that was behind, I guess, on the depth chart, somewhat step up like he has so far?
Man, he's been waiting in the wings, man. You say it all the time, man, dude. The NFL has stars made every single day, but with those stars being made means another star fizzled out, and one came up, and it was ready. That's him. He's been sitting right there marinating, watching, waiting on his turn, and he's taking advantage, full opportunity of a spot that depth-wise doesn't have it all. You know what I'm saying? You brought Cody Barton in, but how long have you brought him in for? You know what I'm saying? That's not a guy that's about to be an 8-9 year guy. So the opportunity is there. So you soak up everything like a sponge. He's continued to do that, and it's leading to him getting an opportunity to go out there and play, man. And I'm looking to see some good things out of him. How quick we get to see it, that's going to be, that's going to be a wait and see moment. But like James Williams and Pop, just continue to pop off the tape, and I think you'll be fine.
Man, in that same sentiment, too, everybody's favorite man, Tajay Spears. His career is far from over. But, Savage, the reputation of little small things, man, that's something that has to be fixed, man, because I've seen guys' careers, man, just go by the wayside because they can't stay on the field. How are you viewing his situation, man, and the opportunities for Khalil Mullings or Julius Chestnut in these situations?
Yeah, man, bad luck. That's how you say, man, coming out of college, he knew he had to deal with it. He's been free from all of the injuries with the knees, but there's been other things that's been nagging more so than anything just to keep him out for a long time. So, man, I love Tajay Spears. You can see the intensity that he came into camp with. I thought, man, when he first got here with Derrick Henry, he was like, oh, man, he was in awe a little bit. And then the year after, there was the opportunity to go play with Tony Pollard, which was cool, but with Derrick Henry being moved, I know Tajay, the competitor he is, and how athletes off Louisiana, man, if you just went to school down there, you're going to look at it as, oh, yeah, it's time to eat, and they bring Tony Pollard in. So I think this time, instead of, you befriend the guys that are in your position room, and that's my brothers, but I want to be the alpha. I want to be the guy that you lean on. And I thought that's the attitude that he came in with this year in the preseason. So that run that he had on that screen, he broke that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just kind of got tackled from behind, and that's the way the game goes. So, man, I hate that for him, but availability is your best ability. And without you being available, you get an opportunity for somebody else. You just got to be mentally strong enough to come back and say, I'm going to get my spot back. And what y'all got out of me, you can't get out of nobody else. So I'm looking forward to him showing that whenever he can get back.
Slay, on this Tennessee team that should be finishing up a scrimmage right now in Neyland Stadium as we speak. Brent Hubs tells us this morning that there could be an announcement as early as next week about Joey Aguilar being the starting quarterback. How do we view expectations for this Tennessee football team, who on paper, in terms of star rankings, is as talented as it has ever been under Josh Heupel, but without Nico Iamaleava and with 7 scholarship wide receivers, there's a very thin margin for error in the SEC, and a lot of those receivers have been banged up. If this team for the first time under Josh Heupel, doesn't meet expectations. If this team takes a step back from where they were a season ago in the college football playoff, how do we view where this program is headed and who Josh Heupel is as a head coach, considering the change that got sprung on him in the spring with Nico Iamaleava's departure?
Well, I first off think that, man, you come into a situation like this and you don't have a guy to tag as far as a star like you did coming in the last year, like, what are you hanging your hat on? To me, as a fan, and I said this in the spring once the announcement was made that they were going to, everybody was behind Josh Heupel. We hoorah, like, yeah, that's what we talk about. Nobody's stronger than the power team. Okay, remember to keep that same exact energy when we're in the week 5 or week 6 of the season. So with that being said, I thought it was a situation where you go out and this team is able to set its own expectation by its play week to week. Now, you don't want to, take a step back when you're out there playing. You say you start the 2 games against Syracuse and whoever you play next, and then you go into week 3 against Georgia, and you take a leap back, a step back. I think it's kind of expected with this bunch because you don't know who you're hanging your hat on. So if they were to take a step back from last season from 10 wins to 9 wins, like, is it bad? I mean, it's like, how many other teams in the SEC would love to have 9 wins? You know what I'm saying? How many other teams in the country would love to have 9 wins to be vying for that position to get into the playoffs with it being extended the way it is? So, I mean, I'm cool with where they are, man. I do think we have to get out of the hold on to, and this is all fans. You love the explosive plays. You love when the fireworks go off. But you can make your own fireworks, man, by getting them sacks, getting those turnovers. And I thought last year, if you can X out the turnovers that, what's my guy? What's the running back? Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, and spin moves and stuff.
Yeah. So just be more efficient. So whoever's a quarterback, whether it's Aguilar, whether it's G, it don't matter who it is. If you can get the ball to the guys it's supposed to get to, when it's supposed to get to them, and take care of the ball, imagine how good that team would have been last year. You know what I'm saying? If Dylan Sampson didn't fumble. Like his fumbles wasn't fumbles on the other side, and there wasn't no momentum. Mostly all of his fumbles were momentum drives that were happening on their side, on the opponent's side of the ball. Yeah, big moments like we're about to go score. Like you can feel it. And then you have also the efficiency of Nico. Nico, a boatload of talent, but couldn't hit the guys when he needed to. I don't know whether that was seeing too much or what. So if you can get these guys, wherever it is, to buy into what Heupel is saying, and it may sound like you on a Sesame Street schematic plan, but dude, it's that easy. Look at the 2 options I'm giving you. If it's not there, take off or dump it down. Let's do it like that. And running backs, I think that's one of the rooms, man, I think is undervalued, especially looking at the way Peyton Lewis looks like Jalen. What's my man?
Jalen right.
No. Take it back a little bit more. My boy, he's from Tennessee. He transferred and then moved to receiver in the league.
Jalen
Hurd.
He looked like Jalen Hurd the way he built. Man, dude, his head got bigger, his traps got bigger, shoulders got bigger. Like, that's a big old boy. And if he can have that speed that he came in out of high school with, that they was talking about, that explosiveness, coupled with the mass that he's put on, man, all right. Yeah. Okay.
He's a great straight line. He's a great straight line runner too. Like fitting in what this offense wants. Like get vertical, get up.
Yeah.
We're not dancing around. When those guards pull and the tackle pulls around you, like get upfield as soon as you clear that line. You make a good point, Slay. Like we don't need to have a referendum, like a discourse about Josh Heupel as a program builder, about the status of Tennessee football if they take a step back this year, because coaches not named Kirby Smart and Nick Saban have down years where they win 7 or 8 games. Like Dabo Swinney's won 2 national championships, and look where his program's been over the last 5 years. Like guys that don't have that top elite status have down years, and this is probably going to be one for Tennessee in the context of where they are as a program right now. that does not mean that we need to have some big come to Jesus meeting after the season, Slay, to say that Josh Heupel's not the guy for Tennessee. We just got to set those expectations on the front end.
I totally agree. And then you also look at the recruiting, man. Remember this class that's coming in.
Right.
Coupled with Faison, like that same hype that you had 2 years ago is right back once you make it through this year. And then you couple that with guys that'll be coming back. You got a young receiving core, people that's supposed to be able to take a step. And you never know when you're going to be able to go get a Dante Thornton out of the port or a Browsel out of the door. You may go find a Boomer court. Like, you know what I'm saying? The way the college landscape is with recruiting right now, man, you can have one of those down years and you can bounce back immediately, coupled with the change from Nike to Adidas. So you telling me I'm going to start off ahead of the curve, and I'm gonna get $15 million extra to play with that don't nobody else got. Yeah. Oh, come on, let the game on then.
That's right. How was Adidas basketball stuff? Just real quick.
Yep.
What'd you say, Will?
How was Adidas basketball stuff today? I know that's probably changed. Like Adidas has got a lot better than it was even 10 years ago. Like how good is it right now?
Man, it's actually okay. It was okay then. It's the problem is you didn't have the trademark guys now that you had then. You had champions running around affiliated with Adidas. So you run around, you had Kobe. You know what I mean? Tim Duncan was affiliated with Adidas. Kevin Garnett was the MVP of the league, was affiliated with Adidas. You know what I mean? The list goes on and on. But now you look at it, man, once Derrick Rose, he was the last MVP, if I'm not mistaken, affiliated with Adidas. So when it comes to basketball, it's how much is being put into it that you can attach yourself to. You know, you want to be attached to a champion. Nike has been able to do that. So you got Dame Lillard, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got Ed Edwards. So that's the reason you need these guys to be successful, be who they need to be. So more can be put into it, because actually Steph Curry stole some of the Adidas luster. You know what I'm saying, with his shoes, but that's about being a champion. So they were always good, man. The gear and everything I thought was cool. Especially when they brought in my junior and senior year, the throwback uniforms. That was pretty dope. So I think one thing people are forgetting, the creative control that UT is going to have over the uniforms as well. So it's not only Adidas. So you can, as Danny White, go out and hire your own guys, your own team, and say, all right, I'm going to sit 6 of y'all in the room. Y'all come up with ideas that we can do to design the jerseys for football, baseball, whatever it may be. And that's different than saying, all right, Adidas, y'all keep an eye on us, man. I know y'all not engulfed in the culture of balls and everything else, so we don't know what to look for. You got guys that you wouldn't handpick for this. That's got to be put in the forefront of everybody, and people understand that.
He is Ron Slay with us every Friday at 9:20. He is the 3HL SEC Network loser of No Roof Ministries,
yes, sir.
Who is joining us every week. We appreciate you, Slay. Thank you, sir.
No doubt, man. Hey, what you going to say, sir?
No, I was just about to say we're going to talk about Michigan getting their suspensions and stuff going forward.
Man, the NCAA dumb. The NCAA got to be the dumbest people. But outside of that, man, I can't wait to see. I don't know if y'all went back and watched the game, but Elegant Manor,
yeah,
y'all was talking about blocking.
Mm-hmm.
No, Calvin, you hurry up and go to the sideline. Hurry up and get out of here, because he never blocks on screen plays, and he always misses guy. Oh, he always blocks too early and get the penalty. Elegant Manor, oh my God,
he's got bad intentions.
That man gonna get a flag, and I love it. I promise you.
He is Ron Slay. Thank you, Slay. Good to talk to you.
Appreciate it, Savage.
Coming up, we have punishment for Michigan. Details next. Friday morning on Ramon and Will wrapping up the show on 104.5 The Zone. We have got penalties for Michigan. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, as we get you out of here. $20 million, expected to be more than $20 million fine, Ramon. And an additional game suspension for Sharon Moore, which is expected to take place in 2026.
Right. What are we doing?
So congratulations to Sharon Moore. You get an extra day of vacation while your team plays at directional school in Michigan or Ohio.
Right. And somehow I got a feeling he'll get that money back at some point from that missed game.
Oh, yeah.
This is fascinating, thinking it's going to be about $20 million. I guess at the time, too, for more context, the largest fine that was given out to a team was in 23 with the Vols. They were fined $8 million, which was believed to be the largest ever, it says, too. So this $20 million to Michigan, Will, what's the weight of this, I guess, for this number, you think?
They got money. They'll be all right. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just the money is a lot. Like, it's a significant amount of cash for, a program at this point that is having to pay players now. So it's not nothing. But, I mean, the NCAA has moved towards a time in its history where it does not want to penalize current student athletes for things that were wrong before they got there. And I think that's fine. I think it's smart to say that, look, like current Michigan players like Bryce Underwood shouldn't be penalized for something that Bryce Underwood was a sophomore in high school for.
Yeah.
But the thing with Sharon Moore deleting 52 texts before like the day the sign stealing stuff comes out with Connor Stallions, like Sharon Moore's got to get more for me. Yeah. Honestly, like I think Sharon Moore at least needs to miss half a season. It needs to be now. I don't know why they could just cherry pick, like, oh, it's going to be 2 games this year and then 1 game next year, probably against a MAC school. Like, that week 1, they're going to play Toledo or Western Michigan or, I mean, maybe not App State, but they're playing somebody they know they can beat without their head coach.
It's going to be a cakewalk, to your point, right? Even if I don't know if they're going to get in one of those Big Ten, SEC matchups to start the season. I highly doubt that is the case. And then the other part of it is, too, does the NCAA tell them when he's going to miss games, or is it also a Michigan imposed, hey, he'll miss against a team we're paying a check?
Yeah, it should be the NCAA because Michigan self-imposed the suspensions for week 3 and 4 this year.
I'm also still looking at the number, though, too, the $20 million, if that is true, on them being fined for. And I think because of betting, because of everything else that's involved in it, they feel like they got to raise that number up to stop teams from doing the illegal cheating inside or outside the games they're capable of taking signals from. I remember when Tennessee was having this conversation, Will, about the $8 million. I feel like I never saw more fundraising from the fan base to be like, hey, yes, here's another collective you can pour money into. To your point, that $20 million is probably going to drive Michigan fans and alum to donate more to the football program and athletic department.
I mean, it's worth it for Michigan.
Yeah, it is.
$20 million to win a national title? Sure.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's less than what Ohio State paid for their roster last year. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So, in addition to those two, here's more from Pete Thamel just now. 10-year show cause for Jim Harbaugh. 8-year show cause for Connor Stallions. So, Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, got out at the right time.
Yeah, he did. The other part, so Connor Stallions, I thought, was coaching somewhere right now, too?
At a high school.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. He's good to go.
At a high school. 8-year show cause for him.
That kills his career, I would think.
Yeah. Probably.
Collegiately.
Ari Wasserman of On3 says, people who thought there was going to be a big hammer dropping and that something would alter Michigan football forever weren't paying attention. Says there is no way to definitively prove their actions helped them win football games and or how significant it was. That's fair. There's also no proof that they helped South Carolina beat Tennessee in 2022. Can we please stop spreading that conspiracy, Ramon? we got to move on. We got to move on. Tennessee lost to South Carolina in 2022. They didn't make the playoff. It was heartbreaking. It was a bad loss. We got to take off our tinfoil hats about that.
I saw a Holly Roll thing yesterday on social media speaking about that same situation.
It's like there's no proof that happened. Yeah. Can we play? I mean, it's a conspiracy you might believe in, but like we got to move on. Yeah. We are going to move on to the weekend tonight. Titans and Falcons right here on 104.5 The Zone. Taylor Zarzer, Coach Mack, our whole crew here in the building. A building that is literally right. I can almost see it. Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Looking forward to being in there tonight. And Ramon Foster, we will have a lot of reaction for the people Monday morning.
We will, man. We up against it. So good people, man. Call your people at all costs, man. Keep your powder dry tonight, but your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot. Be safe getting back, Will.
Yes, sir.
Who the hell are you?
Ramon.
You know.